All right, everyone. Good morning. What's going on out there in Giant Land? It is the 13th of July, also maybe known as about 10 days away from training camp. Oh, we want to talk about Joe Schoen and the on-the-job training. Hey, let's put a banner up today. Let's be official today. Let's be official. Do we want to be official? Look at that. We're official. New York Giant Straight Talk. We got a banner. We look so professional. I saw an article on Twitter the other day. What was it? A couple days ago, where they're basically talking about how Joe Schoen has been doing on-the-job training. Good morning, James Stein. Good morning, Mr. Ferris. Good morning, also Big Blue for Life, where Joe Schoen has been basically learning on the job. Because that's what I want my head coach to do. That's what I want my general manager to do. It's funny. Our head coach learned on the job as well, because it makes more sense to bring somebody in that you're going to have to train for the position. It was Paul Schwartz, and it says it makes no sense, and we have to do it for Paul Schwartz.
Stupid giant Twitter post.
Oh, this one goes out to New York Post Paul Schwartz. It makes no sense to bring in a first-timer and then jettison him after a few miscalculations. The Giants stuck with Joe Schoen, and he is a better general manager now than he was when we hired him. Dear Lord, is this where the Giant machine is at now? Is this where the Giant propaganda wing is? And I love the title is Giants are seeing the fruits of Joe Schoen's hard-learned lessons. So as a season ticket holder, as a fan since 76, I am supposed to sit there for these last 4 seasons and go, it's all right. Joe's learning. We don't even know what he's learned yet. You want to look at, we've done this before, and people are like, well, this last draft class saved him. You have no idea what a draft class looks like until about 3-4 years down the road. We have said that a million times here. So let's go back to Joe Schoen's first draft class. Beavers, gone. McKeithen, gone. DJ Davidson, backup at best. McFadden. People are all gaga that he's going to be the first Giant linebacker in years, have 2 seasons of 100 tackles or more. If you looked at him positionally and you count 30, let's just say that you want to say 2 inside linebackers and you have 32 teams. So that's 64. He's probably ranked 56th in the starting linebackers. Dane Belton, garbage. Daniel Ballinger, garbage. Cordell Flott, garbage. Jonathan Azuda, hot steaming fucking garbage. Wandale Robinson, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Had the quietest 90 receptions I've ever seen in the NFL. Evan Neal's going to be gone. There's already talk again about trading Kayvon Thibodeau. His first entire 22 class, which is like 13 picks, which was going to be the building blocks of the franchise, could completely be gone next year. You go into 23, Owens, garbage. Riley, garbage. Hawkins. Everyone loved Hawkins. He was the training camp wonder. And they wonder he started 1 game and threw out his shoulder because all he learned how to do was shoulder tackle. Eric Gregg should be gone. Jalen Hyatt gained 25 pounds, so that's going to make him quicker. That's going to increase his speed and his agility. JMS, great kid. First season, led the league. Starting centers. We've said it before. In reference to holding penalties. Last year, gave up the most sacks by starting center. Banks regressed in year 2. So potentially, out of 20-some picks in 2 years, maybe 1 or 2 guys are going to be on the roster in 2026. The class that saved him. Tyrone Tracy did not run for more than 60 yards in the last 8 games of the season. I think it was the last 8 games. We broke it down. After that one big explosion, 100-something yards, and the majority of his yards comes off of one play. Like I said, I love it. He'll have 25 carries or 20 carries for 120 yards, but 70 came on one play. going back to like the Pittsburgh game. Theo Johnson, big question mark. No, I have no idea. Drew Phillips, everyone loves him. So does the league. Gave up 80% passer complete, 80% completion percentage for numerous first downs. Tyler Newman to me should be a Peppers or a Logan Ryan. Malik Neighbors is really to me the only solid pick that he has had in 3 years. And I love when people are like, well, we need to get into his trades and stuff. Yeah, let's do that. Darren Waller. And then people are going to be like, well, he got this from Darren Waller. Because Miami was fucking desperate. And Darren Waller basically proved and said, I didn't want to play in New York. New York used to be a destination, a mecca. A fucking mecca. Players would fight to get here. Then LeBron came out and said, thank you. Thank you in the back row.
I'm taking my talents to South Beach.
Take your fucking talents to South Beach because you want to know why? Because you are not MJ. And you will never be MJ. And there's a reason why you'll never be MJ. That's a whole other show. Maybe there's a different podcast. Ooh, I don't know. Maybe there is. But you look at what he's done. Nothing substantial. He's like, well, people are like, look what he got for Leonard Williams. Look what he got.
King of the almost sack.
And now we're sitting here a couple years later saying, we need a running mate for Dexter Lawrence. You let McKinney walk for nothing. You let Julian Love walk for nothing. You let Saquon Barkley walk for nothing. Think about that. Think about that. You went out and got a Paulson Adebo. The speculation during Paulson Adebo, because of his injury, was not even on the top 5 cornerbacks for free agency on most of the teams. Most people thought that Paulson Adebo would get 2 years, $20 million. Kind of a $10 million prove it deal, and then avoidable second year. You know what the Giants do? You know what Joe Schoen does? Hey, you know what I'm going to do? We got a lot of people that are just kind of like, hey, listen, he may never come back. He could never come back to being full strength though it was. So let's give him $54 million, 38 of that guaranteed. We'll show this league that most people thought he was going to get a 10-year prove-it deal. We'll show him. Paris Campbell literally came out after he left the Giants and said, I only went to New York because they were the only ones to give me money. Literally, he came out and said that when he went to Philadelphia. I only went to the Big Apple after my best season ever in Indianapolis because they gave me money. Bobby Okereke, who I like, who I think is a good player. We pay about $5 million, I'd say about $4 to $5 million, too much a year for him. The market was set by Chicago, and we went over market value to bring in a good, not great, good off-the-ball linebacker. McKinney and Love are probably, I would say, to me, McKinney's is either the first or second best safety, and I would say Love is probably like the 10th. Holland fell out of that. I think Holland's in the top 15, maybe. There is so much concern about Holland in Miami that he had such a regression that there was massive amounts of concerns of what was going on with him. So you know what we do? Because we're the Giants. We're smart. We're smart. We know what Joe Schoen does. We're smart. Let's give him all this money. Let's not give that money to a guy that's a homegrown, cultivated player, and either McKinney or Love we'll just get a guy that's all we'll overpay for a guy who had an off season. If these moves all work out, yeah, it'll look good. But if these moves fail, it's going to look like a steaming hot pile of dog shit. And so as a fan base, we're supposed to sit there and say, it's okay, guys. We're okay. We don't need to win. We don't need to fire Joe because look at it. He's done so well now with this on-the-job training. We can't get rid of him because of a few missteps. That is the right-wing propaganda arm of the New York Giants. We can't get rid of these guys because he had a few missteps. Anyone that has this many missteps on any other organization probably would have been fired. But as the Giants, we like continuity. Oh, it's all about continuity. We need continuity. We can't go firing people every 4 or 5 years. Well, when you pick the wrong people, yeah, you can fire them. It's okay. I won't tell. But you just look at what he's done. I mean, it's and for us to sit there and have to say, well, we can't get rid of him because of the fact that he's learning on the job. I was literally befuddled. Don't worry though, we got Roy Robert Harris, we got Chris Board. We went out day one while other teams were getting franchise altering free agents. Our biggest day one free agent signings were guys that you would usually see get signed in day 7. I'm not saying anything against Chris Board. Good special teams player. Not going to give you shit at linebacker. Not going to say anything about James Houston. But he's a swing tackle, and then you went out and drafted a swing tackle. And I love it because people, what about Ledbetter? Okay. The Giants right now are like 31st or 30th in reference to cap space. And there's a reason. Because we overpay. But don't worry. In year 5, Joe Schoen is learning on the job. Because as a season ticket holder, I keep wanting to pump.
That's what she said.
Pump it real good. Dun, 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 dun. I keep wanting to give my hard-earned money, thousands of dollars a year for seats to the New York Giants so Joe Schoen can learn on the job. And now the thought process is we can't get rid of him because of a few missteps. Oh, out of 20-something picks in his first 2 years, which were supposed to be foundational pieces, we may literally have like 2 players left next year. But don't worry. I love Henry Rollins. Black flag.
Cause you're a liar.
Oh, I love Henry Rollins. I don't like Henry Rollins, the actor. I like Henry Rollins. Black flag. But don't worry, we could do this with Joe Schoen. And then if this season craps out, we're going to go into season 5. I'm telling you this right now. This is what scares the fucking bejesus out of me. Think about this for a second. You go into year 5. They're going to fire. They're going to fire Dable. They're not going to fire Shane. You want to talk about you know what? Let's talk about Mark Lewinsky and Tyrod Taylor. Those were his big signings in 22. We have the Nacho Man and Okereke in 23. Those were the big signings. John Runyon, big signing. John Runyon, when he left Green Bay was ecstatic because they already said if he wanted more than $8 million, we weren't going to bring him back because we drafted his replacement in the 3rd round 2 years ago. Devin Motor Singletary over when he was with the Texans. That year in 2024, they blew out all their wide receivers. They have a rookie quarterback. So what do? Do they rely on the motor? No. They still rely on the rookie quarterback. What about what's his name? What was that? What's his name? Guy Austin Schottenheimer. I don't remember his name. He also brought in Ellie Moore Fudd. These were our big signings. Big Don with the super chat coming in and say, college football 26. I keep updating sliders. Go ECU Pirates. I'm playing Coastal Carolina right now, Don knows. Don and I are big NCAA football fans. We're big fans. Blackbird, where have you been? Me and Tim was at the club last night. We were. I just watched this, and I watched this dilemma, and I literally see the monumental stupidity of segments of the Giant beat writers. And I love it because people are like, people have this distrust for the Giant beat writers. Well, when you have an article like this from Paul Schwartz, yeah, I would have a massive amount of distrust as well. Because like I said, when the fucking headline is Giants are seeing the fruits of Joe Schoen's hard-learned lessons. The hard-learned lessons affect the franchise and the fan base. Does anyone not recall Joe Judge? Joe Judge learning on the job as a special team coordinator. I don't think that worked out too well. Jay Ferris giving the 5 online Big Blue Straight Talk memberships. Oh, Big Don. Jay Ferris is stealing your thunder. Stealing your thunder, man. You get your videos early. You get your shorts early. You get all the stuff early. Working. All right, yeah. All right, brother. But that's what I don't get. Literally, that's what I don't get. And to Blackbird's right. Tyler Rod Taylor was the best quarterback we had. He was never given a shot at the starting quarterback role when we should have moved on to him. We should have given Tyron Taylor the reins of that offense when it was sputtering, but no, we like to have that, we like continuity. We got Big Blue for Life saying, what's going on? James Williams, the New York icon. I don't know where James Williams is. James Steins, good morning, Tim. Dave, he's in the chat all saying, good morning, Tim. What if Joe Schoen will come to be interviewed by you? We got a lot of interviews coming up. I got a really good interview on Monday coming up. People are coming left and right wanting me to interview them. I don't know why. Because I am a great interviewer, but I have a good interview coming up on Monday. And then I got another good interview coming up, I think, next week as well. And then, of course, we'll have Carl Banks in studio in August. Don't forget the Sims Challenge, the Sims Complete Challenge. I'm in the gym now 3 weeks in a row, every day, hanging and banging. I actually, you want to laugh? Don't tell Matt Sims this. The other day, I had a quarterback coach reach out to me, asking if I needed him to train me. So, I said, hell yeah. It's like, hell yeah, you want to train me? Settle up, cowboy. Yo, man, what's going on? Yo. I'm here for the realness, because the realness is what we bring. You want to talk about realness? We got a lot of stuff coming up with this channel, the Giant channel here. We got a lot of shit. I got shit coming up on this channel now that's going to blow your mind. Literally. If I had an explosion. Okay, there's no explosions. I thought I had an explosion, but it'll blow your mind. Can't tell you though. Jeff says, Timmy. Ryan's Big Blue Podcast, dreaming to meet Joe Schoen at camp. You're not going to meet Joe Schoen at camp. Joe Schoen knows better than to go out among the little people. He knows better. He's too busy eating the motherfucking Crustables. And I don't even know why I played the rim shot, because that's not even a joke. Big Dash says, I like this subject. I like this subject too, because it's truth. It's honesty. It's the American way. And I'm not talking Superman. I'm talking Batman. What's up, Trenton? What's up, gamers? What's going on, brother? Davey says, at least McFadden has 56, shares 56 with that 56. You're right. Trenton writes, Evan Neal will be a good practice squad player for someone next year. So Andrew Thomas had the audacity to come out and say, I may not be ready for the start of the season. And I love it because people will say, well, Theo Johnson had the same injury and he's catching touchdowns in camp. Andrew Thomas is 1,000 times more important to this team than Theo Johnson ever will be. And he literally didn't even come out and say, I'm not going to be there. He's just saying, I'm not making any predictions yet. Things look good. Aiming for week 1. That evidently sent the segment of the Giant fan base into a fucking tizzy in July. End of August, he's saying the same thing. Then we got problems, but it's July. So then you have Evan Neal sitting there. This is what I love. This is what I love, because sometimes it's karma. You got Evan Neal sitting there. Came out of school, wanted to play left tackle. Got moved to right tackle. If and this goes back to Joe Schoen. Watch this. Gonna bring it right back. If Andrew Thomas can't go, wouldn't it make sense to give the 7th overall pick from 3 years ago a shot at left tackle? No. He'll go with Ellie Moore Fudd, or he'll bring in Bo, or they'll do something stupid. But wouldn't you give the guy a shot to play his what he refers to as his natural position? No, because we're not that bright. Jay says, looks like Ryan is live and set up with Tim. Ryan Anderson bobblehead. Oh, there's Ryan. There's McLovin. We all love Ryan. If you don't know Ryan, of course, it's from Ryan's Big Blue podcast. And we found out the other day that, according to Jay Ferris, that Ryan,
I am McLovin.
It looks like McLovin. I literally, there you go. There is Ryan's from Ryan's Big Blue podcast. It took some doing, and it should be here in a couple of days. I'm going to take these glasses off. I have a hat. I have a giant hat for McLovin. So just stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for that nonsense. We also have a new podcast dropping for New York Giants Generations coming up on Monday. We recorded it on Thursday, so that'll be on Monday morning. You can get that. It's a good topic. The topic basically is 2025 Giants closer to 2024 or 2011. Ryan's already 0-6. Jay Ferris says, if Tim interviews Joe Schoen, it would go very poorly. I think if Joe Schoen had the balls, and we all know they're TT, if he had the balls, because he goes on to believe with Carl Banks and Bob Pop. But if he had the balls, he would come on a show like this. Not a fan show that's going to kiss your ass. Not a fan show that's going to fawn over you. But you come here and not even answer hard questions, but answer honest questions. Because I'm fair. I don't pick on people. I'm fair. I would ask fair, honest questions that fans really want to know. Not like
Now, damn it. Hold on. Testing. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Not like questions he got the other day when I was like,
Joe, when you were in college, when you were in Division III, what was your favorite sandwich?
No, I have questions to ask. Jay Ferris says, Brian Flores, Paulson Adebo actually wanted to come to the Giants and fans recently. I wouldn't say nobody. No, Brian Flores wanted to come here. And what did we say? We said no. Paulson Adebo came here because we gave him the most amount of money. Paulson Adebo, most teams didn't even have him on the top 5 of their corner list because of the injury. Everyone was going to give him a 1-year prove-it deal. No, we give him 54, 36 guaranteed. The more likes, the better. I agree. Davey says you forgot he also let Azeez walk for nothing too. I don't know what Azeez Ojulari is going to be. When Azeez Ojulari was playing, he was something special when he was on the field, but he's never on the field. Of course, now he goes over to Philadelphia and says, they wanted me here. New York never wanted me. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's just him being bitter. I can't tell you. So Trent says Azeez will do great things as a rotational player for Philadelphia. I do worry about that. I do worry about that. Trent also says Paris Campbell caught a touchdown pass from Hurts against the Bucs last year in a blowout loss. His only contribution to Philadelphia. Oh, I don't disagree. J Sports Cards. What's that? Joe Schoen is asleep at will, much like Gettleman. He is asleep at the wheel. But the thing is this: are we going to find like Happy Gilmore? Are we going to find our happy space? Are we going to find that happy space with Joe Schoen? Because I don't want to break the news to you, kiddies. He's going to be here for year 5. The Giants could go and win 4 games. Dable's fired. Entire staff is fired. Mara will keep Joe Schoen. That's just the way the Giants operate. Because Joe Schoen's going to convince me, well, I had a rookie quarterback. Oh, and I had a coach that I couldn't really work with, even though the players didn't mesh as well as we thought they would. That's a problem. Jay Fair says Tim ranting on Joe Schoen is like Henry Rollins. We already got that. Blackbird is what's up, youngster? What's up? We already got that one too. Trent also says Joe Schoen would have been fired in Philly after signing the Jones contract. I love the Jones agent when he's basically saying on the podcast, it was fucking comical. Putting together a highlight tape to sell the Giants on Daniel Jones. It was comical. We'll give him 160. We're only going to offer him 160. Only going to guarantee like 90. It's like a 3-year out. We said it the day that contract ink dried. This is going to set the franchise back 5 years. We said it that day. I said I got blasted because literally the day it came out, literally like 10 minutes later, I said this is going to set the team back at least 5 years. So what are we now? Almost 3 years now? Into 2 years or 3, what are we? 2 or 3 years into the debacle now? This will be year 3 of the debacle. I've said it before. We probably would not be good again until 27, 28. Nobody listens. Jeff Newman says, I can go 2 for 20 in the draft. I'm just a fan. I think I could go 3 for 20 in the draft as just a fan. But look at his draft picks. The first 2 years, it's so abysmal. And people are saying year 3 saved his job. What happens if all of year 3 flames out on a sophomore slump? What if Drew Phillips all of a sudden can't really cover? What if Tyler Nubin gets exposed more at safety? What if Tyrone Tracy is the back that he was the last 7 games of the season where he didn't rush for over 60 yards in any of those games? What if the fumbling problems turn around and come back? What if Malik Neighbors gets disgruntled and in year 2 wants out? There's so many ifs. Shane and Dabo really haven't proved they could do their jobs in the NFL level, and long-term fans are getting frustrated with the poor results, but now we have to run it back. This is how sad we are. Truly, this is how sad we are. Blackbird says, I think the Giants are a racist organization. I don't know if they're racist. I think they're more stupid and incompetent at times. That's just, and it's not a slight. It's not a slight. But John Mara is not Wellington Mara. He's not. Joe Schoen is not George Young. Hell, he's not even Arnie Accorsi. He's more towards Andy Robustelli. and Dave Gettleman. Brian Dable is not Parcells. He's not Coughlin. Hell, he's not Dan Reeves. Hell, he's not Ray Perkins. He's more Ray Hanley. Tyrod Taylor was nice. He couldn't even make it through a game without getting some type of injury. Yeah, so neither did Daniel Jones that year. Let's see here. Yeah, Tyrod was the best quarterback since Eli, which is pathetic. You're not wrong. Big Dash says, yeah, this is a great subject for a Sunday morning. Well, you got to have a Sunday morning topic. I got up late. I love it because in my life, I've been shot at. I've been stabbed. I've been hit by a car. I got hit by a car once and the car bounced off. And I lived. But you throw raw shrimp at me, I might die. So I'm at the restaurant and my son orders this grilled shrimp. And I can eat, if you grill the shrimp or you boil it, I can eat it without any problems. But if it's raw, there's some kind of secretion from the shrimp that's like, I'm like, I could die if I even touch it. So he had this butter sauce and I was eating mahi. So I was like, oh, that looks good. So I was dipping my mahi in the butter sauce, not thinking that it was shrimp butter sauce. So yesterday, my head blows up, my face blows up, everything blows up. I'm like, my wife comes to me, are you having an allergic reaction to the shrimp? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, yes, I am. So you're lucky I even made it today. Tyrod Blackbird says, look at the offense of the Tyrod Taylor versus Daniel Jones. Yeah, because he could throw touchdown passes. He threw the ball downfield. Love the interview, says Jay Ferris. Like I was mentioning before, we got some big things coming up the channel this year because of the fact that they're I'm always going to do the Sunday live stream, but the daily videos are probably not going to be as prevalent because I have a couple of the projects I'm working on. But I got a project that I'm working on that I'm very excited about, and it's going to come out, I think, in the next 2 weeks. And I'm very excited about it because it's going to be an interview show. And it's going to be all sports. It's going to be called Balls, Bats, and Bad Decisions, Unscripted, Unqualified, Unapologetic. So make sure you stay tuned for that, Pat. This is the new pod that's going to drop in 2 weeks. We got a lot of we're going to have a lot of guests. We're going to talk all sports. We're going to talk everything. That's going to be Balls, Bats, and Bad Decisions, Unscripted, Unqualified, and Unapologetic. So make sure you stay tuned for that. I'm going to drop some information on that. We got some really big interviews coming up on that. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So we can get away from doing the interviews on the Giant channel, and we can do more interviews. We can do, I can do what I want to do with the interviews on that channel, so everyone doesn't have to be bugged. Because, like I said, I got some great interviews coming up, though. But make sure you stay tuned for that. Let's see here. Blackbird says Walker scored his only touchdown with Tyrod Taylor. Quarterback, Waller's best game was with Tyrod Taylor. Trenton also says, I believe the Giants roster last year, Jalen wins 9 games and makes the playoffs.
Gentlemen, which brings me to my next point. Don't smoke crack.
There you go. Jay Ferris sums that one up. Blackbird says, I really hope Wilson works out this year. I think Wilson will work out this year. Because when I walk to the club, this is what I see. Everyone stopping and staring at me. I work out. But I think he will work out this year, but I don't think he is going to work out to the expectations of certain segments of Giant fans. The idiots that were posting his rookie season highlights and saying, this is what we're getting. No, you're going to get Pittsburgh, Russ. You're not even going to get first year Denver. You're going to get last year Pittsburgh. Is that good enough? Well, it wasn't good enough for Pittsburgh to only go 2-6 in the last 8 games. And people are going to say, well, he was told not to audible. Well, we've broken this down before. When a seasoned offensive coordinator and a veteran head coach tells their veteran quarterback, do not audible, there's a reason. They saw something in his thought process. They saw something in practice, and they saw something in other game scenarios where they said, If he does this, we are probably going to lose. So for people who are like, well, they didn't let him audible, there is a rationale for that. It's not like Mike Tomlin all of a sudden went stupid and forgot how to coach. No, he has a process to win games, and he thought if we let Russell Wilson be the freewheeling Russ, we're going to have problems. So you hope that the Dable system, and we don't even know what the Dable system is going to be yet, but you hope that the Dable system is going to be more catered and structured to Russell Wilson. The only problem is, as a backup, Jackson Dart fits more of the Russell Wilson mold than Jameis Winston does. You're going to have to change your offense a little bit and what you're going to do when if Jameis Winston has to come in for Russell Wilson. It doesn't make a lot of sense at time with the Giants with their backup quarterbacks. Drew Lock mirrored more Daniel Jones. That made more sense, so you didn't have to change your offensive philosophy. But now it's like, okay, well, this guy, we have what we're supposed to be this scrambling mobile quarterback who has the ability to read down the field, and instead, when he gets hurt, or if he gets hurt, we're going to go to Jameis Winston, who is more of a statuesque in the pocket passer who has a tendency to throw interceptions. Jackson Dart fits more of what you should be doing with Russell Wilson. That's all I'm saying. Trenton says Jalen and Malik Neighbors would be a nice duo. Plus, the effectiveness in the run game lessens them for a perfect pass protection. You're right. Wait, huh? What? What do you wait, huh? In there, am I behind? Trenton says, I hope the Giants start Dart and day one just for the hell of it. Why not? They should start Dart. Russell is a waste of time. I don't think he's a waste of time. I've said this before, and I keep preaching this to the choir, and people think I'm fucking insane. You go 3-3. That's right, Giant fans. You go 3-3. You only then have to win 6 games out of your last 11 to be 500, to be 900, to be win 9 games. And I'm going to keep saying this. I think you can take this division this year with 9 games. So in your 6 games, you have the Eagles, the Saints, the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Cowboys, and the Commanders. You hope this is hopium. This is Zacatech. This is hopium. You hope you take the Saints. You're at the Saints, but you hope to take the Saints game. You hope you could take the Chargers at home. And then what you have to hope for is you can take Dallas at home. That means you have a divisional win. You will still be 1-2 in the division, but you have a divisional win. Because then you go to the Broncos, the Eagles, the 49ers, the Bears, the Packers, the Lions, the Patriots. You know when I read it? When I read the Giants schedule, I get all queasy. I'm like, where's the easy part of the schedule? Oh, here during the bye week. That's the easy part of the schedule. But, yeah. You go 3-3. You have to win 6 out of 11 to be a 9-win team. And I think you make the playoffs. No way. What do we know way? What's up, Trenton? Razzle the Great says, Tim, 2025, fair and honest. Fair, balanced, and honest. I love when people are like, I had a guest, I'm not going to say who yet. I had a guest email me. And, well, the representation emailed me and says, this guest wants to be on your show. Big fan. First of all, I almost typed back, fucking liar. Almost typed that back, but I didn't. And I was like, did anyone see, has this person watched the show? Because evidently Amon Green watched the show and didn't come on. Blew us off. The email, like I said, would love to be on your show. After not calling him a liar, I almost typed, why? That's why we're doing this other show. But it's fair, balanced, honest. James Dine said, the best quarterback we've had before was Tyrod Taylor. The only reason the Giants didn't move on to the first quarterback spot is he was injured too much. I don't know. People are texting me. I was injured too much time to be a second chance. All right. I'm working here. I'm sorry. I got to let you go here. I'm working. Let's see here. What did they say? The picnic. Okay, great. All right. Let's see here. Jay Ferris says, what did Jay Ferris? This is the guy from Paul Donato's show. Joe Schoen isn't an infomercial. They work for the Giants. I don't know. I don't know. Is Joe Schoen on their show? I don't know. Trent says, I would ask him what he thought about letting two of the captains, McKinney and Farmer, walk from the same season while they were still in their primes. Positional value. We always talk about positional value on the show. But like I said, Joe Schoen's not coming on here. You think Joe Schoen's would come onto this wreck? No, he can never come on here. Mark Stewart. Salute, Tim. I'm on vacation mode. I wish I was on vacation mode. The Giants were on vacation mode. The Giants don't start in the camp for another 10 days. So we're very excited about that. Davey says, I feel we are a AAA minor league team for the Philadelphia Eagles. Some of our talent is more AA. Big Dash says, true, Joe Schoen is no longer on the hot seat, but Dable is in part of the boiling water. Yeah. I keep telling people this, and nobody ever wants to fucking listen to me. And then no one ever comes back and apologizes when I'm right. For 5 seasons, I had to sit there and hear the garbage about Daniel Jones. To this day, I still remember doing that video at the end of his rookie season, literally pointing out point by point everything that was wrong with Daniel Jones, and I was told I was a hater and I didn't know anything. 5 years later, yeah. Nothing ever got fixed. Chat Sports loved the Daniel Jones. Yeah, because they were fucking idiots. I'm way behind. A good GM would not let McKinney and Barkley walk away for nothing. Most teams would fire the GM for stupid. Your gold jacket franchise player, the face of your franchise, the jersey seller, the guy that's putting butts in the seats. You decide as an organization, we're going to fuck with this guy. You could say that a Giant career in 6 years was a failure, but in 74 games, he did rush for over 5,000 yards, 35 touchdowns. He still also had another two. People forget this guy also had 288 receptions as a Giant for 2,100. I think it was 2,100 yards. And I don't know how many touchdowns. I don't remember how many touchdowns. But this is a guy that was the cornerstone face of the franchise. Yeah, he got hurt. He got hurt in 19 going after a bad pass from Daniel Jones. Shocking. Non-contact injury in 2020. 2021, he tried to come back too early. And then in 2022, what does he do? He is the offense to a 9-7-1 season. When the league figures it out, we go from 7-2 to 2-5-1. And then last year with no offensive line, still ran for 900 yards on only 247 carries and 6 touchdowns. Another 41 receptions, another 4 touchdowns. Then what does he do? He gets the ball 345 times in Philadelphia. People forget this. He ran the ball 345 fucking times in Philadelphia for 2,000 yards. Averaged 125 yards a game. And we did not have the foresight to sit there and say, maybe we should get a 5th rounder for him. Because you knew back in 23, you weren't bringing him back in 24. You didn't even offer McKinney a contract. If you knew you were going to do that, because you didn't want to overpay for a safety who happens to be, to me, I think one of the top, if not the top safety in the league, you couldn't have just got a 5th rounder for him. What was the 24 team going to be worse if we didn't have McKinney or excuse me, I mean, were we going to be even worse without McKinney and Barkley? Of course. We saw the results. But at least get some compensation. People are going to be like, well, you're going to get a compensatory. No, we're not going to get into all that crap. Same with Julian Love. Julian Love misread the market. Could have had a bigger contract. Hit the free agency. The market wasn't there. Comes back to Joe Schoen for half of what Joe Schoen offered him in season. And Joe Schoen said, nah, we like Yusef Corker. So what does McKinney do? And Love do? McKinney to me is probably the 10th best safety in the league. I think Love is the 10th best. I think McKinney's the first. Blackbird says, people say the Colts game last year saved Joe's job. To me, it should have destroyed Joe. It should have. Praxis says, so many questions about the teams going into 2025. I hope they prove me wrong because it's been horrendous. There's a song. The sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun.
When I'm stuck with a day that's gray and lonely, I just stick up my chin and grin and say,
it's been so bad for so long. I don't know. And I keep saying this over and over again. And I said this, like I said, since we signed the Jones contract, 2028. 2028 is probably when this team is going to be good again. And I don't know if it's going to be Arch Manning. I don't know if it's going to be Jackson Dart. But at the end of the day, this is what's going to happen. I thought my soundboard almost crapped out. I have this system 365 system soundboard, and it's one of these professional whatever soundboards, and it's older, but even cheap, the soundboard is very expensive, and I'm just sitting there going, did my soundboard just crap out? I don't know what to do, guys. Well, I'm trying to find something here. Everyone just amuse yourselves for a second. Razzle the Great says, not even Jim Fossil. All right. No, he's not even Jim Fossil. Jim Fossil at least made it to the Super Bowl. At least, I was there for that 2000 debacle in Tampa. But Jim Fossil at least did that. Jim Fossil also won in the UFL and all these other crazy leagues. He's not, Dable's not even, Jable is not he is not Jim Fossil level yet. 100%. I'm trying to find the Jim Fossil clip. See what happens when your soundboard breaks? This would be bad if this broke. Because evidently, like I said, I'm going to need this for the new podcast. Now I have to see. Now I have to see. Now I have to see if this is broken. But I found it.
I'm raising the stakes right now. This is a poker game. I'm shoving my chips to the middle of the table. I'm raising the ante. Anybody wants in, get in. Anybody wants out, can get out.
You're right. He's not even Jim Fossil. People forget about Jim Fossil's career with the Giants. Jim Fossil, to me, and people forget that his when he left the Giants, he had to go. He couldn't get another coaching job. I mean, not a coaching job. He couldn't get another head coaching job. He guy had to go to Baltimore as an offensive coordinator. It didn't work. This is a guy that was 58 and 53. And had, what was he? 10 and 5, 8 and 8, 7 and 9, 12 and 4, 7 and 9, 10 and 6, 4 and 12. This is a guy then that, like I said, had to go to Baltimore in 2005 as an OC. People forget though. He had a pretty good, he was not a good offensive coordinator in Baltimore. Not a bad one, but he was not a good one. I love Jim Fossil. That is accurate. Because I'm awesome. Yes, I already know that. This team is constructed to maybe 4 to 6 wins. Oh, I still see 4 to 6 wins. I still see 4 to 6 wins. I'm just saying, though, if you want to laugh, if you want to have some kind of laugh or speculation about this team, then you have to, if you don't want this thing to be over in October, you hit the like button. It's going to be like a chain. This is like a chain letter or chain email. You want to hit that like button if you don't want the thing to be like that. But you look at this and you just kind of say, it's a 4 to 6 win team. It's probably less if you start Jackson Dart. Probably less. I don't know. Jay Ferris says, Tim is like Chuck Norris hit with a car. The car didn't even hit him. I laughed because when we were talking about that earlier, I was walking into a supermarket and I'm in the crosswalk. And this car ran the crosswalk and literally hit me. And I didn't move. The car just hit me. And there was a guy behind me and he looks at his wife and said, damn, that guy just got hit by a car. And the car lost. I was like, yeah, motherfucker. I honestly didn't see the car. Razzle says, I can stand up to bullets and criminals, but shrimp, no. If you're a criminal, if you want to kill me, just throw raw shrimp at me. I mean, literally, if you want to kill me, just throw raw shrimp at me. Let's see here. Jay Ferris says, how do you have a Phil Simms figurine after he disses you so hard? Phil Simms didn't. I actually have an autographed Phil Simms helmet. And that's not a figurine. That's a McFarlane figure. I actually have the Franklin Mint to Phil Simms. Phil Simms was my hero growing up as a kid. Yeah. And he disrespected me in 87 in Pasadena. I know. That's why I'm going to go to the Simms Complete Camp and show Matt Simms up. Showing him up. Showing out. Gonna drop not only dimes, but quarters all over that fucking field. Like I said, I'm in the gym now every day, hanging and banging, doing what I got to do to get ready. I now have a professional quarterback coach on board. Gonna train my ass up. Yeah. Let's see. Tim, we need throwing darts to throwing. What? A little confused on that one. Jay Sports Cards. Hey, Hirsch for real. What's up? Oh, I'm Manning. All right, I got you. Now it makes more sense. Jay Ferris says, why Wilson looks kind of porky like he has been to the Golden Crown nightly. I said the same thing about Russell Wilson. I've seen Russell Wilson in person a bunch of times, going to Giant events and stuff, and I remember seeing him at the draft, and I even said to some people that were there, and I said, "Is it just me, or is it Russell Wilson look like he ate Sierra and not in a good way?"
That's what she said.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Hirsch Real said, Hirsch equals giant legend. Good to have you here. Of course, Hirsch Real is the man. Danny says, last 5 games, trash can, dinking down your Russ. Woohoo. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Hit the like button, people. What's up, T-Brad? T-Brad in his house. If James is here, then there's James. Michael. What's up, Michael? Going on. Big Dad says, Jay, we know how you feel about Russ. Listen, my thing about Russell Wilson is the fact, like I said, I'm going to keep saying it over and over again. Hit the like button. Russell Wilson, if we were 28-year-old Russell Wilson, I'd be excited. But we're 36-year-old Russell Wilson. Took over people forget. Russell Wilson took over a 4-2 team that was being quarterbacked by the likes of Justin Fields. And people in Pittsburgh in the locker room were upset that Justin Fields got benched. It's fucking Justin Fields. You're a 2-time Super Bowl participant, 1-time Super Bowl winner, Russell Wilson, and people are upset that Justin Fields got benched. Jackson Dart hype. There's all this hype for Jackson Dart. And you know what? And I said this before. You had vanilla for 6 seasons. You had vanilla. And that's all you could eat was vanilla ice cream. It's all you could eat. Vanilla. It's all you could eat. Finally, you perceive you got Rocky Road. But if you look at the Rocky Road, there's a lot of vanilla in it. And now there's already, we had to hear for weeks with OTAs and everything else that Jackson Dart looks like he could be pushing the envelope, getting ready to start. Now you hear people saying, well, you know, you just have to be, you have to be just, you have to be patient with Jackson Dart because you're probably not going to play all year. So as we're getting closer to real football, the true feeling about Jackson Dart on some people's minds are actually, they're saying the quiet part out loud. What's up, C-Web? Happy Saturday, my man. What's going on? 4 quarters in the season. You're right. You're right. There's 4 quarters in the season. You're right. We have to wait and see what happens. Of course, you love the Slayton video. James, you love Darius Slayton. Blackbird said, Giant fans think we're getting to that. That's the thing. Some Giant fans think we're getting rookie Russ. That scares the bejesus out of me. As a season ticket holder, that scares the bejesus out of me. Razzlegreat says we're losing all the games -1. That's a good. That's an interesting comment. If we lose, if we only win 1 game, and let's just say for the sake of sakes that Arch Manning balls out, 5,000 yards, 60 touchdowns, wins the Heisman, Texas takes the national championship. He looks around and says, I'm fucking coming out, man. I completed my school eligibility. I'm coming out. Giants will go 1-16. You're sitting first overall pick. There's Arch Manning right there. You just spent the 25th pick on Jackson Dart. So what do you do? What do you do?
What do you do, hotshot? What do you do?
I know what I do. I know what I do. Razzle says we aren't beating the Chargers or Dallas or the Eagles. No, I don't think we are either, but I'm just throwing it out there. Trenton also says Eagles win 12 games and the wins the division will finish second at the Giants. Win division will finish second. I still think 9 games take this division because everyone plays within the division.
That's what she said.
And everyone plays the same schedule. So it's going to be tough. Saints is actually the most winnable game in our entire season. Mr. Webb also says, happy Saturday. Giant Nation, happy Saturday. Trent says, I'm standing firm. The Giants can win 9 games.
Gentlemen, which brings me to my next point. Don't smoke crack.
You know I love you, Trenton. You know I love you. Mr. Webb also said, let Jackson Dart hit the full year. When he's ready, let him loose. What happens? And here's a question, and I'm not picking on Mr. Webb. I'm not picking on Mr. Christopher here because I like Christopher. What happened? I have a question because that's what we do here. We're a question show. I have a question. You waited an entire year for Jackson Dart. You let Jackson Dart sit on the bench and you let Jackson Dart maturate and mature into hopefully what you refer to as the quintessential quarterback. What happens if you let him maturate and mature and he doesn't put up numbers? He doesn't put up 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions like a Chief did in 2018. What happens then? What if it takes him? What if he Josh? You know what? I'm going to say something right now. I have something to say. And luckily I have a microphone. Because if I didn't have a microphone, I wouldn't be able to say what I'm about to say, but I got something to say. Hit the like button. I was going back through the articles of NFL history because I'm old and that's just what I do. And I found a quarterback And I know young Ryan McLovin is sitting there saying, oh God, I know where he's going with this. Don't say anything, Ryan, if you're still in the chat. I found a quarterback that, in my mind, the meteoric rise from this quarterback to where he was taken in the draft, to his talents, to the way he played, I found a quarterback that mirrors, in some regards, Jackson Dart. This kid was taken 22nd overall in what was referred to probably as one of the greatest quarterback classes in league history outside of 83. This team traded back into the first round with their second pick to the Dallas Cowboys to get the 22nd pick in the 2024 draft. A mobile kid who could run a 5'4" rocket arm, vertical leap that like we've never seen before. Final season in college, threw for over 3,000 yards, 33 touchdowns, averaged 7 yards of completion. He was going to come in and revitalize the Buffalo Bills franchise after this quarterback-laden draft. People that are football fans, please tell me, and tell me I'm not right. And please tell me that Jackson Dart does not remind you of J.P. Lossman. Please tell me he does not remind you of J.P. Lossman. J.P. Lossman was one of these guys that, he was talked about in college. I love it. He took an athletic scholarship to UCLA, enrolled. He wasn't named the starting quarterback. So he transfers to Tulane, which happens to be in, wait for it, New Orleans. He sits around. He's okay in Tulane. His third season, 2,400 yards, 19 touchdowns, interceptions. Then he explodes on the scene. Nobody was really talking about him till the end of the 2024 season. He has this. Most people thought when he was coming out that he was going to be maybe a 4th or 5th round pick. He goes through the process. He goes through everything else, rockets up the draft board, gets selected 22nd overall in 2024, and is out of the league 4 or 5 years later. A mobile rocket arm quarterback that was, if you looked at the way they ran an offense at Tulane, was a one-read quarterback where they cut the field in half. And he relied on his mobility, and his first option was to throw, and the second option was to run. Please tell me, people that know football, please tell me he does not remind you of J.P. Lossman. If you're honest about it. And like I said, JP came in, not a hyped up guy, but at the end of the season, like I said, going into those combines, he was hyped up. And he moved up probably from a 3rd to a 4th round pick to the 22nd, being traded up for in the 22nd overall pick. Finished out his league, if I remember correctly, with the Las Vegas Locomotives in the UFL, which I believe was coached by Jim Fossil. For the love of God, tell me I'm wrong. But be a football purist. Don't be one of these people that just says no. Don't be one of these guys who just looks at the stats and say no, he's not. That's not him. James says, we need to beat Dallas because we are not beating Kansas City. No, we're not. Jackson dashes, do not throw Dart out there to start the season. Oh, hell no, you fucking can't. There'll be talk about it. But here's the thing. This is what I don't get about this draft. There is potential for this giant draft to be phenomenal the first round. There is potential. But there is potential that this draft could be dog shit. Let me explain. Because that's what I do. Abdul Carter, was he the right pick at 3? If you stayed at 3, yes. Was he the right pick for the Giants? No. Because you have 2 carbon copy ends that do the exact same thing. And now you're asking a guy that had a 25.7% missed tackle percentages last season as an off-the-ball linebacker at Penn State to potentially do things that he is not able to do. Is he able to rush the passer? Yes, 1,000%. Can he be disruptive in the passing lanes? Yes. Could he get double-digit sacks? Yes. Will he maybe play only 36% of the snaps? Yes. Tell me when in league history a team that's coming off of 3 wins took a guy 3rd overall that may not even play 40% of the snaps as a defensive player. Because you can say that about a quarterback. But you took the 3rd overall pick and you might play him 40% of the time. Think about that for a second. You then trade back up into the first round to get the 25th pick for a guy who potentially may not see the field till 26, and then we still don't know what he is. That's the scariest thing no one's talking about. You may have traded up for a guy, given him a first round deal. The clock on that deal is already ticking because we could have probably got him in our pick in the 2nd round. But we're not going to get into that. But think about that. Just think about that for a second. You may have your 3rd overall pick play 40% of the snaps, and you may have your 25th pick not even play at all. Why is no one talking about that? Oh, that's right. There's only one channel that's got the big enough balls to do that. Just can't eat shrimp. Big James. Jay Ferris says, Tim is making a quarterback comeback. Turning back the clock. Maybe Russell can. Listen, I'm only doing this to prove a point that a 50-plus-year-old can go out with these 16 to 19-year-olds at a quarterback camp and still look good. I do think it's hilarious that a professional quarterback coach DM'd me on Twitter, and he's been verified and said, I want to train you for this. I was like, you're fucking insane, dude. But yeah, all right. If you want to do it, yeah, I'll do it. Saddle up, cowboy. Dallas is vulnerable this year. So is Philadelphia. So are the Giants. James says we can't put darts out there early. But that's what I'm not getting. You can't put dart out there early. But we also may have our starting defensive end or rotational player only play 30 to 40% of the snaps. When in league history, and this is what, and like I said, I'm a league purist. I love not only the Giants, but I love the NFL. I love NFL history. Everyone knows I don't watch television, but I will watch the 30 for 30s. I will watch, you go to the NFL channel. They have like the history of the history of the 77 Atlanta Falcons, I'll watch shit like that. I am a football historian. Tell me when a 3-win team took a player 3rd overall, he may not even play 40% of the snaps, then followed it up by training up to draft a quarterback 25th overall who may not see the field to 26. And it can't be from a team from the 70s and the 80s. Are we going to week 1? Yeah, I'm going to week 1. Of course I'm going to week 1. I'm stupid. I'm going to fucking Buffalo for a preseason game. That's called being the fake fan that I am. I'm going to Buffalo. Except me. I don't know what we're talking about because I'm 20 minutes behind. Drop the link. Drop what link? Oh, Dash, you want to come on? Okay, hold on. Big Dash wants to come on a minute, I think. Hold on. Just Big Dash. I usually don't drop the link this early, but if Big Dash wants to come on, I'll talk to Big Dash because evidently he wants to talk about JP Lossman and how I'm right. Sublight. I hope we train to training camp and get blown out 40-0 again. No, please. I was there for that. I was there for that fucking debacle in Dallas. Dash, I dropped a link. I was there for that fucking debacle. I'm not going to say nothing, but I was there. Blackbird is right, except me. I told you right about Daniel Jones. Yeah. Would it be worth to give Brandon Schiff a training camp invite? Sure. It's always worth it. It's always worth you give someone a training camp invite doesn't mean that they're going to sit there and not yeah, it's worth it. It's always training camp. This is what I don't get. I don't know. I'm still delirious from the fucking shrimp. Big Dash wanted to drop in. He wanted to drop in the link. So you know what I do? Because I don't know. I'm tired. I dropped Big Dash in. What's up, Mr. Dash?
What's going on? Can you hear me?
Of course I can. Of course I can hear you. Your levels are perfect. It's the perfect modulation.
I got a new setup and first time trying it out. So,
oh great, we're the fucking guinea pigs.
No, it's not like that. It's just trying to make things better. But so yeah, you're on fire today.
So just tell me I'm not right about JP Lossman.
You know what? I got to go back and look at JP Lossman. Like you said, you already actually cornered that conversation when you said you just can't look at the stats and say he's not. And the first thing I did was look at the stats and say, I was like, no, I can't just make that comparison right now. I got to go back and look at. You got to
remember 2004 stats in college are a lot different than 2025 stats.
I was thinking Will Levis.
No, he's not Will Levis because Will Levis was taken in the second round. Will Levis actually was a guy that was rated as a first round pick that dropped to the second round.
But I never thought Levis was a first rounder though.
Oh, I never thought Will Levis was a first round pick either. I was very
just like Dart
when we took him in the second round.
just like Dart. And your point is exactly right when you said we could have got him at 34. I think it was a possibility to get him at 34, but Dable loved him. That's what we're hearing, right?
So here's my thing though, and this is what bothers me. Dable loves him. This is the Dable guy. Oh, this could be Dable's guy. Dable could be fired by Thanksgiving. So then I have to tell my next head coach, like we did with fucking Daniel Jones, can you make this guy an NFL quarterback? Brian Dable, sure I can. I can do everything I can for Jack. I can make Daniel Jones into an NFL quarterback. So now I have to hire another coach that has to be willing to work with Jackson Dart because I traded up to get him and I took him at 25.
No arguments. I'll say this though. When you said that the thing about Abdul Carter not playing more than like 40% of the snaps, that part, that's an eye opener. But when it comes to the quarterback at 26, like it's not a surprise. Quarterbacks are treated differently if they don't start right away, even though we draft them in the first round.
But you're on a quarterback needy team who has a 36-year-old Russell Wilson who finished out 2-6. And I keep saying this over and over again. Nobody wants to listen. Pittsburgh is the cornerstone franchise. It's that franchise that always makes the playoffs. It always goes there. There's a rationale why Mike Tomlin, who has never had a losing season, who has never missed the playoffs, and our offensive coordinator said, we don't want you to audible. You took a 36-year-old, two-time Super Bowl participant, one-time Super Bowl winner, and told him, we're going to treat you like a second-year pro. This is the way you got to run this offense. There's another rationale behind that besides, and I know people in Pittsburgh, and I love it because I got one friend that works in Pittsburgh media, and he works like the Giants. Sometimes you don't speak out of turn, but he was like, one day when I leave and I go to another city, I will tell you the Russell Wilson story. And I told him, I said, I am going to call up your job now and get you fucking fired, so I can hear the Russell Wilson story.
I'm curious though, is that more of a Pittsburgh thing or a Russell Wilson thing? Because I think about Arthur Smith coming from Atlanta, first year OC, heavy with the run, and then how they treated Justin Fields. Do you think that it could possibly be Pittsburgh more than it is Russell Wilson? And then I did see a comment talking about the last 5 games of the season in Pittsburgh last year for Russ. But do you see the names that they played? They played both Super Bowl participants, and they also played the Ravens, and they also played the Browns and the Browns defense too. So that down the stretch was probably one of the hardest down the stretches for.
Wasn't there last game of that season against the Bengals?
The very last game was against the Bengals, and the Bengals were fighting to try to make the playoffs.
But
they lost that game by 2.
Who had the worst defense in the entire league? Who gave up more 30-point games? Who gave up the most 27 plus point games? And who I think he also gave up 240 burgers.
I believe it was a 2-point game at the end of the day. It was 19-17 or something like that.
But it's the Bengals against you are Russell Wilson, man. You lit up the Bengals for 400 yards in the middle of the season, and now you can't complete that big Bengal game. It to me is what started the Russell Wilson downfall. There was something that happened after that Bengal game. So I don't think he threw for over 230 yards for any game after that game. There's something that happened. I don't want to talk about Pittsburgh because we're not fucking Pittsburgh.
No problem.
But no, something happened that in that Bengal game that Pittsburgh looked at it and said, this is the way we're going. And I understand going from Justin Fields to Russell Wilson because you have Justin Fields who has done nothing really in the league. He did have them at 4-2, but if we're honestly looking at Justin Fields' play. Yeah, I could see you benching him for Russell Wilson because you brought Russell Wilson in for a reason. But I can't see a quality franchise and head coach such as Mike Tomlin saying, "Hey, listen, Russ, we're gonna take away everything that makes you you."
No, it sounds weird. It sounds weird to me. That's why I'm thinking that it might be something else. But also, I'll say this too. For the people that in space, especially Jay Ferris, because Jay Ferris knows how I feel about Russell Wilson. I don't think, like to your point, we're not getting 2015 Russ. We're not even getting 2020 Russ, where he threw for 4,000 yards. We're getting what he looked like the last two seasons. The last year in Denver, which wasn't as bad as people thought it was, and then also last year with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I will say this: when I bring it into New York Giants terms, I look at that Colts game, right, from Drew Lock. Did Drew Lock do anything special in that game? He absolutely didn't. All he did was get the ball out on time to the playmakers. And the playmakers at that case was Malik Neighbors. Can Russ do that more consistently? And to me, that answer is yes.
But the question is going to be, are we going to play teams that are going to miss 14 tackles that game?
Oh, no. But again, do I believe that Malik Neighbors can break tackles from anybody? He has that ability to do that.
Let me ask you this question about Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors' yak was almost non-existent, and I've talked to Matt Sims about it. I talked to other people about it in reference to it's the ball placement from the quarterback. It could be this, it could be that, but just by accident, you would assume that a player would fall down, that he would juke someone, that he would have more yak because his yak really didn't start occurring until that Indianapolis game. And then and I just bring up the point though, that you look at Brian Thomas Jr. over in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence, terrible season. Your quarterback was Mac Jones. Mac Jones is not what I like to refer to as the ball placement king, but this guy still found the yak. He found it.
But my point is this, right? And I think they're right. When you look at Malik Neighbors, all those passes and early in the season, right? Everything was either late or where the ball was, he was either going out of bounds, falling down because he had to jump to get it. It was always something about the ball placement, in my opinion, and the timing was off. That's why same thing with Wan'Dale Robinson. How do you have 93 catches and only 600 yards? It's just ridiculous to me. To me, it has to be ball placement.
Because no. I've said this, and I was shocked. Because on the Believe stream with Carl Banks and Bob Papa, they said Carl Banks actually said this, and I agree with this. I still do not think that Wan'Dale Robinson understands how to catch the ball. And there is a fluidity to this. And yes, I understand he's only getting the ball 3 yards off the line of scrimmage. But when he came out of Kentucky, the first thing I said in the draft video was, you drafted a guy, and I understand he was going to be a slot, but you drafted a guy that got pulled down numerous times from behind at Kentucky, that more than likely he is not going to be this scat back. He's not going to be this Darren Sproles. He's not going to be this guy that's going to give you much after the catch unless he has been catching the ball in motion. And the way he catches the ball at times, you look at him and you say, as a high schooler, it's like you try to teach, it's almost like you want to say to look at Wan'Dale Robinson, what not to do, because you need to catch the ball in a certain way and a certain fluidity where it allows you to turn your body and head upfield. And sometimes he just looks like, I don't know if it's a lack of concentration, maybe it's a lack of proper.
He was also a running back.
Yeah,
he was also a running back at Nebraska before he went to Kentucky too. So,
but
high school running back.
How many years has he been in the league now?
Yeah. No, it's no excuse. It's no excuse at all. But he also
gave him an excuse. He's a running back. Tyrone Tracy was a wide receiver.
It's flipped. No wonder Tyrone Tracy catches the ball better than Wan'Dale Robinson. He was a wide receiver. Also, Tyrone Tracy.
I was going with that. He was a wide receiver. He can, but he's still playing running back.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I'm just saying for me, it's a lot of things. It's a lot of things that don't make sense for sure, especially when you talk about Joe Schoen, and that was way earlier. I had hit that. I thought you were going to drop the link a little bit early because I wanted to talk about a couple of things with you.
You can still talk about it. I don't give a fuck.
No. So, no, that's funny, man. No, the Joe Schoen thing.
In the chat, we're going back to talk about Joe Schoen. Go ahead.
Just a real quick point about Joe Schoen, because I wanted Joe Schoen gone. I wanted Brian Dable gone at the end of the season, right? As soon as John Mara made the decision to keep these guys, I said, you know what, I can continue to cry over the spilled milk. And then, I agree with some of the moves in free agency. My opinion has not changed on Brian Dable, but as far as Joe Schoen goes, it goes this: I can't do anything to stop this man from being here this year. And to your point, I think he's safe this year, no matter what happens. Yeah. Unless they have like one win, and then I think he could possibly still be on the hot seat. But for me, I'm like, the draft classes. A lot of people are high on the draft classes, and I'll say this too. Tyler Newbin played as a rookie. All these guys played as a rookie. It was out of necessity because the roster was trash. I could see it being different if we drafted these guys. We had a pretty good roster and they started too. So a lot of people are giving Joe Schoen a lot of credit for these draft classes. But to your point, draft classes aren't really draft classes to 2-3 years, down the line. But I can't continue to complain about Joe Schoen because it does nothing. It does.
You know what it does. You know what you don't know. 100%. It does. It literally doesn't. It does nothing. But when you see an article like in the Daily News saying, and because I'm a season ticket holder. Yeah, I'm a fan since '76. I not only opened up the fucking Meadowlands, I opened up MetLife. Yeah, and sit there and to tell me, well, you know what, we have to grow with Joe Schoen.
That's disrespectful.
We have to go through that is telling me the hundreds of thousands of dollars that my family has spent over the years on this team is a waste because of the fact that Joe Schoen's learning on the job. We have to be patient.
It's a big fuck you for the ticket holders for sure. Yeah.
That's basically telling me, Tim, the money you just gave me the last 2 years and maybe this year's, don't worry, we're going to burn that in a bucket.
Yeah.
And you're going to still show up because you're an idiot.
But we do show up.
That's what I'm saying, because I'm going to show up because I'm an idiot.
Yeah, man.
I talked on forever about canceling. Kareem, is that you in the chat? I see Kareem in the chat. I also see Off Broadway. I got to get to Off Broadway real quick. Over under number of games played before Jackson Dart is thrown in there. I'm gonna let you take that one.
Yeah. I don't want to see Jackson Dart until after the bye week, if I'm being honest. Just me. And because at the end of the day, I care more about the Giants than I do Jackson Dart. So I don't like if he's not playing, that means we're winning. And I'd rather be winning than Jackson Dart developing, if I'm being honest here, because he might not work out, if we're being honest. I want him to work out because we drafted him, and I'm a Giants fan. I believe blue, all that other stuff. But he's not ready. And we should not be worried about throwing him in there. I saw there was a guy on it. Was it Daniel Jeremiah saying week 6, week 7, week 8? Like, you're nuts. You're trying to get us the first round pick, and you're trying to get him out of here because we might be drafting somebody like Arch Manning, which I don't think Arch Manning comes out in 2026.
The Mannings have been known to be 4-year guys.
Yeah.
4-year guys. Not only that, but 4-year degree guys. So it's I don't think he's coming out. But Pale Rider said, it's been a while since I watched one of your streams. I need this after seeing all the stupid shit other content creators have been posting. Pale Rider, Big Dash.
Yeah. Nah, some people don't agree with some of the stuff. And also one thing that triggered me earlier, Tim.
Oh God.
Daniel Bellinger. Daniel Bellinger. I blame Daniel Bellinger on the coaching staff. I do.
Okay. All right. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going because I'm a nice guy. Explain to me. Yeah. Oh, I got so much to say. Explain to me how you blame Daniel Bellinger on the coaching staff. This will be. Are we going to be blaming Theo Johnson on the coaching staff?
No, Theo Johnson has more issues to me than Daniel Bellinger.
Exactly.
So my example is this. So when we drafted Daniel Bellinger, I said, who the hell is Daniel Bellinger coming out of San Diego State, right?
Yep.
Found out that he was more of a good blocker, but had some good I guess good testing scores, right?
Yeah.
We get to the 2022 season. He starts as a rookie. He shows some promise. The eye injury happens. He comes back after like 5 weeks, and he's still making plays. The following season, well, everybody was screaming that we needed a wide receiver 1 for Daniel Jones. So what do? We went and got Darren Waller, who is not a wide receiver 1, but he was supposed to be the top receiver for Daniel Jones. And what do? He starts at tight end, and we turn Daniel Bellinger into a glorified H-back fullback, and we slow down his development. Had he been able to develop still, I think he would be better. And then what do we do the year after that? What Joe Schoen does all the time is draft over the players that he drafted already.
Right. He's already drafting contingency for the failures of the players that he already drafted.
But the point is, I don't think it's Daniel Bellinger's fault, because if you look at his targets versus his receptions, he's always catching 90% of his passes, or last year was 100% of his passes, but he didn't have enough snaps to even register a grade. He went 14 for 14 last year, 128 yards. The year before that, about 250 yards. Rookie season, I think, was 269 yards off of 30 receptions, and then it was 25 receptions. So the more you use him, the more production you'll get from Daniel Bellinger. So for me, I'm not saying he's one of those tight end ones that'd be like a Kelsey, but he is a solid, quote unquote, New York Giants type of tight end. He's your Ballards, he's your bosses, and stuff like that.
17. We're going to go with 2023 because I always think it's unfair to criticize the rookie season, because the rookie seasons, he did have the injury. So he had a full season in 2023, played in 17 games, started 13. What was his catch percentage?
He did, I believe it was 28 targets, 25 catches, and he had about 250 yards. I only noticed because I just did a video on him.
He had 255 yards, 10 points. His receiving success rate was 39.3%, down from 68.6% the previous season.
And his snaps were what?
He had more snaps. He had more snaps than he did in his rookie season. That's why I said I'm going to give him. He had 688 snaps in that season compared to 574 snaps. He played in 62% of the offensive. The offensive snaps.
And a lot of those snaps he was playing H-back and fullback.
Yes,
that's the difference. He wasn't starting tight end.
I understand that. I understand. We're gonna get to that. Who was then the starting tight end in 23?
It was Waller.
Okay. And Waller, who to me is more of an Evan Ingram player. And if we take a look at way Waller played last year, he didn't always play in line. He didn't play in the middle of the line. He played a little bit mainly a lot of H-back. He played a lot of Evan Ingram, like I'm a wide receiver, but I'm kind of a tight end. And you had an inline blocker in Dane Bellinger, who was also used in a lot of those formations with Waller. So he was probably playing more of the true tight end position at times when he was on the field with Waller.
Yeah, he was chipping. Chipping.
But we can agree to that, though. Yeah, and absolutely. That offense in 23 was extremely a dink and dunk offense. I think on average, I think it was something crazy like Daniel Jones only threw something like, or the Giants in general, threw like something like 5 yards, under 5 yards in the air. Off the line of scrimmage. So it was a dink and dunk offense. So
Daniel Jones being Daniel Jones.
It was Daniel Jones being what he did. Yeah. So you have this guy that really, to me, when he came out of college, I didn't think he was a fourth round pick. I had him either in the 7th round or undrafted when Daniel Bellinger first came out of school. In my opinion, but my opinion doesn't mean anything. But this is a guy now that has been in the league going on 3 years. Has played, he has played H-back, but he also has played a lot of the true tight end position. He's bulked up. He's gotten bigger every year. I don't see him as this devastating blocker. I've watched, and like I said, my seats are, James will tell you, my seats are like 45-yard line, 16 rows up. So we see everything.
Yeah.
And it's great, though, because I always tell people when you watch on TV, it's a little different than when you watch at the game because you can literally see everything at the game. I've never seen him progress into this devastating blocker. I've never seen him progress more into what would maybe be a Caden Smith type tight end. And the Giants, in their own thought process, after 3 seasons, said, and I don't like the Theo Johnson pick, because we've had OGR Sports, who's a huge Penn State fan, on, and he even says that, this guy, and you hear the reports that he was lazy at times, he seemed disinterested, Theo Johnson, but I would say he's more athletic. Yeah. I would say he has the potential to be I'm not saying he will be a better blocker than Daniel Bellinger. And if you look at on paper, comparing the two, he would be a better prospect in year 2 than Daniel Bellinger would be in year 4.
Yeah, my thing with Theo Johnson is they banked on the RAS score, because the production wasn't there at Penn State for Theo Johnson. You looked at his 40 time, you said, oh, this guy's 6'6", almost 6'7", 260 pounds, and he ran a 4.6 or 4.5 40. And it's like, okay, woo, wow. But then you see him actually play, and he did have a case of the drops in some critical times, and then he also had the Liz Frank injury. But for me, again, I'm higher on Bellinger, because I believe Bellinger is a better blocker. I think Bellinger is a more complete tight end. Theo Johnson is going to give you more wild plays, and we saw it in his rookie season. He had 29 catches, 43 targets, 29 receptions, 337 yards. He got a lot more yak because he was able to break a tackle or hurdle somebody.
Right.
So I do believe that. And again, my argument isn't that he can't be better than Daniel Bellinger. I'm just saying right now, I don't believe he's better than Daniel Bellinger.
I hate our tight ends.
I don't hate them, because I think that if you actually use them the correct way, and this could be coaching, and this could be a lot on the quarterback as well, that you'll get more production out of these guys. And that's my only argument. We talk about Daniel Bellinger's lack of production, but every time you throw it to him, he catches it for the most part. So I'm assuming, in my simple mind, that if you use them more, you'll get more production. So but that's just how I think about things. So
I agree to the point, though, but here's my thing about using more, you get more production.
Yeah.
It could also go the reverse.
Yeah.
If you use someone more, they can be exposed more from what they're not. And I think Tyrone Tracy is a great example of this after his 140 yard explosion. And then if you actually take a look at what happens when the Giants started using him more the last 8 games of the season, he kind of got exposed a little bit for the things that he couldn't do, and he didn't rush for over 60 yards in the last 8 games of the year.
I do have a pushback for that too.
Okay, but I'm not done yet.
Okay, sorry.
I'm not done yet. This isn't the Big Dash Show. Look at the title.
My bad.
Yeah, I got the title up. Yeah, look at the title. See, I got the title up. I always forget that.
It's up there. I can see it.
Okay, good. I didn't. I don't have the time. But my thing is this: as you know, as you play more, the league all of a sudden gets a better understanding. They have film. They have what your tendencies are. They like what the things that you do. Okay, when he runs this way, he likes to cut back this way. When he does this, he likes to do that. So so now when we see him getting the ball in this scenario, we're going to have blank sit in this scenario, sit at home. So he makes sure he's not going to do this. So as you're using somebody more and you understand more of their tendencies, it's easier to stop that player until that player, and some players never do, readjust to the league adjusting to you. And that's what I'm saying with certain players, as they play more and they get exposed more. I'm not saying that Tyrone Tracy's not going to come in and rush for 1,000 yards, but I am going to say this. If you take a look at his big 100-yard games, and I always tell people, tell me one thing you see in those games. And that usually is the fact that he'll have 15 carries for 40 yards, and then he'll have one run for 70.
That's like the Saquon syndrome.
Here's the thing. Saquon ran the ball 345 times for 2,000 yards, averaged 125 yards a game.
No, I'm talking about the Saquon for us.
Oh, Saquon. Oh, yeah.
When it was -3 yards, 3 yards, and then boom.
It's the Barry Sanders syndrome as well. Barry Sanders has the most yards in the league rushing. No, not the most, but he had, was 3rd overall in the league in total. He also led the league in league history of most yards, negative yards, plays with negative yards. So
yeah. No, I blame a lot of, like, again, when it comes to, like, you go to these games, and I'm pretty sure you at certain times of the game, if not all the time, you want to throw your hat Like me, I sit on my couch. I want to throw my hat at the TV because either I know what's going to happen before the play happens, or it's just like, what are you doing, right? And for me, Brian Dable, the way he used the running game last year, it wasn't consistent. It was either too much running or we having success. Let me go ahead and switch to passing already. And it's like, where is the happy medium there? And that's one of my critiques when it comes to Brian Dable is that can he really manage a whole game, not just a half, not just a quarter, a whole game? And those are question marks that we'll probably find out this year because last year we can put a lot of blame, or the years prior, we can put a lot of blame on Daniel Jones, carrying a lot of the weight of why we look so bad. This year, you got Russell Wilson, who's an old man Russell Wilson, like old man Logan, old man Russ. But I still think that you'll be able to see more of what we have in the talent positions: wide receiver, running backs, tight ends. That's what I'm banking on. And again, you know me, I'm more optimist, and I'm off the hopium. But I put the hopium down. This, like last year, was a lot of hopium going into the season. This year, less hopium, more expectation because I'm looking at the roster. Like the roster looks like it can actually be a 500 team, in my opinion. I don't think we go to the playoffs or anything like that. But
if you look at the offensive line, is this a line that you would see what right now? You got to take in the Andrew Thomas consideration as well. Do you see this line being an offensive line that could lead a team to a 500 season?
Right off the bat, no. And the main concern is the guy that I was high on is JMS, the center.
Right.
I think we got enough veterans here at the guard, even the older guys, Van Rote and Stinney. I think those guys are good enough at guard to do some things. Andrew Thomas, coin flip. He's always one play away from getting hurt. But I do like to pick up. Well, I think Jermaine Illumino is solid. But JMS is just the biggest question mark. You can't have a center playing that weak. And that's what makes me feel or gives me the hesitation with the Giants is that offensive line. But that's the only probably thing.
Okay. Do you think right now, I think it was Pro Football Focus, Sports Illustrated, and I can't remember whom else, ranked the Giants running backs probably around 27th or 28th in the league in reference to running back combinations. Do you think that this running back combination right now, and you also got to throw in Devin Singletary, is the type of running back combination behind this line that could lead the Giants to a 500 season?
They haven't proven that, no.
Okay.
They haven't proven it. I can't argue against that.
I know, but we're not done yet. We're not done yet. Look at the tight ends. To me, I think if you really wanted to help your offensive line, you really wanted to help your running game, you would have found a tight end. You would have found a presence in the middle of the field that could open up not only the passing lanes, but also open up the run for Tracy and maybe Scatterboo and Devin Singletary, because of the fact that we don't have a threat. We don't have a viable threat at tight end. And to me, Dable, even going back to his days in Cleveland and other places where he got fired every place he was the offensive coordinator outside of Buffalo, did not and does not still know how to use the tight end. Do we have a quality enough tight end room to be a 500 team on offense?
I actually like the tight end room. I actually think the lack of production in the tight end room was based on the lack of targets.
Well, here's the thing. Is that targets going to increase with Brian Dable as the head coach? Because like I said, go back to his history outside of Buffalo. Mm-hmm. He was never a guy that utilized the tight end.
And that's the part that I don't like, because again, are you trying to fit this offense to do what you did at Buffalo, or are you going to use the players the best way that you can use them? And you do have tight ends that can attack the seams. Both of those guys, Theo Johnson and Daniel Bellinger, can attack the seams. I don't think they're Evan Ingram type, like you said before, or even a Darren Waller type where you can line them up outside or in the slot. But I do think if you wanted to target the tight ends, you could. Like same thing with
But the question is this: with the head coach and the tight end talent, are they a tight end room that can be a 500 team?
I don't know.
We all know the answer. Just say it.
I don't know. I don't know.
I will give you don't know. I will give you a don't.
But again, I haven't seen Brian. Well, I have seen.
We have seen it
without Daniel Jones. I've seen the offense without Daniel Jones in spurts, and it's crazy. It's not even crazy to say. I think about Tommy DeVito in the Green Bay game. He looked way better than what Daniel Jones, and he was attacking all parts of the field. I look at all the Tyrod Taylor games. All that stuff looks absolutely different than what we've seen with Daniel Jones. So when I put in Russell Wilson, pause, I can't help but believe that it's going to be better because you got a better quarterback. So the production should be better. I blame a lot of this on Daniel Jones, man. At the end of the day.
Oh, listen, I blame everything on Daniel Jones. I've been blaming Daniel Jones since his rookie season. I took shit for years because I said that rookie season after literally the video came out, said has no pocket awareness, has no presence in the pockets, has no feel for the pocket, doesn't sense where the rush is coming forever, does not throw with anticipation. Shermer was brilliant by cutting the field in half and giving him one option to throw to, kind of like a Jackson Dart and some other guy in Lane Kiffin in college. Not going to say what though, but he is a guy that did all these things and he never improved from his rookie season, and he only had 4 good games his rookie season. So, and you blame that all on coaches. So I blame everything on Daniel Jones. Everything's Daniel Jones' fault, but Daniel Jones is gone. Daniel Jones has been gone basically since, last year. He's not here. So the question is, are we finally going to blame Brian Daboll? Because I have never been high on Daboll. I liked Fat Daboll. Fat Daboll won. And I see him gaining weight.
He is.
So I have hope that my man crush will come back for Fat Daboll, because Skinny Daboll can't coach. I don't think Fat Daboll could coach outside of Buffalo either. But I think I could coach Josh Allen. No, Josh, throw a touchdown. Look, he did it. I told him to do that. I told him to throw a touchdown.
Also, Josh Allen had a willingness of throwing the ball too. I think that's the difference too. I know, and you talked about it before about all of the many problems that Daniel Jones has had. Is he was gun shy too at the end of the day.
Oh yeah, he didn't want to throw. He literally did not want to pull the trigger on throws, and that's a bad way to play quarterback. But I just find it funny that everyone thought that Josh Allen was going to collapse when Brian Daboll left. Well, what does Josh Allen go on and do last year? He wins his first league MVP. And actually, in my mind, he literally became more of a complete quarterback after Brian Daboll left.
He also noticed that they actually started to run the ball too in Buffalo.
I know. I know. That was not as much as they should.
Yeah.
Yes, they do run the ball more, but I don't think they've had a 1,000-yard rusher, and I don't remember how many seasons over in Buffalo.
It's been a while. Thurman Thomas.
I was maybe
Shady McCoy. McCoy might have got 1,000 yards.
I don't know if McCoy did, but I know Marshawn Lynch did.
Oh yeah.
And when people forget he was in Buffalo. They kind of, I don't know. But what else you want to say about our loving GM?
No, that was it. I think he's safe, but I think he's safe because a lot of people are giving him credit for a class that has not actually proven themselves yet. And that's why I do believe that he's safe, but I don't believe that I don't give him all that credit already. No, we still have to see Tyler Nubin, because we haven't seen Tyler Nubin play his best yet either. He played at a necessity, but he's a ball hawk, and people don't play him like a ball hawk. They play him close to the line of scrimmage. So it's a lot of questions for me. Again, I watch a lot of college
Tyler
ball.
Nubin, I think that should be his position. I think he should be a Peppers Logan Ryan type player, where you play him 60-70% of the snaps in the box. I think that because of our dearth at linebacker, I think that's what you should do with someone like him.
No, he can absolutely do it.
Yeah, I don't think he's definitely a baller, but I don't have this warm feeling with him officially trolling, the backfield, patrolling the backfield itself. I mean, the defensive backfield. I don't get that warm fuzzy feeling. I don't get that with Dane Belton either. But
But no, Tyler Nubin is head and shoulders above Dane Belton. Like Dane Belton, for the most part, was in the right place at the right time. I got a deflection. You know what I mean? Or the pass was overthrown.
First of all, head and shoulders, the shampoo is head and shoulders above Dane Belton. Let's be honest. Dane Belton gets an interception, gives up 5 fucking touchdowns, is a trailer on 5 touchdowns in a row.
Talk about it.
But everyone, I have talked about it. I've yelled about it. I fucking watched the guy. Everyone talks about the Matthew Stafford gift interceptions, but nobody talks about all the pictures I put up of him being the literal trailer on 5 consecutive touchdown passes. I've talked about it in college. I was told as a free safety, you have one job, and you do this one job. Do not let anyone get behind you. They would tell me, I don't care if you do anything else. I don't care if you fall flat first on the field, but if you get someone behind you and they score, you're not on the field anymore.
Yeah, you're cooked.
He got benched by Wink his rookie season in the Texans game, didn't see the field again until the next year, until week 14, gets the interceptions. Then I have to hear for the rest of the 3 games last season what a brilliant player he is. He gets cooked again, left and right. I still put up the AJ Brown touchdown that I was sitting there going, what the fuck are you doing? But no, I have to hear how he is going to be now because he had all these interceptions in the OTAs.
In OTAs, right? Yeah, no. I will say this: the difference in OTAs was he was actually breaking on the ball for a lot of those interceptions. But it is what it is. That's practice.
Difference in the OTAs, he's wearing shorts.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing with Hawkins that year. It was it was practice. Yeah, but but Tyler Nubin is better than a lot of people think he is as far as being able to be in the backfield. Defensive backfield and can cover. But again, we didn't get a chance to see that. We saw him play well in the box, and we would want to try to, no pun intended, keep him in the box.
Yeah.
When it comes to that. But I do think he's talented enough to be a guy that you can trust on the back end too. So again, that's me watching college ball. Watch a lot of it. So yeah.
And as you know, what happens in college stays in college.
Will you say that about Abdul Carter?
Listen, I am so concerned about the Abdul Carter pick.
I know.
I am petrified that we took a guy 3rd overall that had a 25.7 missed tackle percentage his last season as an off-the-ball linebacker. Yes, I understand he got moved to Penn State out of necessity because they lost a guy in the 1st round. They lost a guy in the 3rd round of the draft. Yes, I get it. And they used it. Its coaching staff was smart enough to take advantage of the situations, but he is not an off-the-ball linebacker. He is not a linebacker in general. OGR Sports will tell you all about the fact that, if you take a look at Parsons' first season at Penn State, he led the team in tackles with 82 tackles and never started a game. You had a guy that had 80 tackles in 2 seasons and missed 25% of them his second year and then got moved and he became a destructive force. I just can't think of a player in recent memory that was taken 3rd overall. And Jerry Oslowski, the former Buffalo Bills offensive lineman, big, huge Penn State fan when he was on the channel, said the same thing. You're not going to play him at linebacker, and you may play this guy 30, 40% of the snaps. Yeah, he may get 11 he could get 10, 11 sacks, but when have you ever seen a team, Big Dash, take a guy 3rd overall that maybe not even plays in 40% of the snaps, and then you trade up for a guy 25th overall who may never see the field? And then you're telling me we are building this team to win.
Yeah, I mean, I don't qualify to answer that because going into the draft process, I felt the same way about Abdul Carter, not necessarily him missing tackles at the next level. It was redundant.
If you can't make tackles in college and you miss 25.7, think about it. A bad missed tackle percentage in the NFL is 8 to 9. That's a bad missed tackle percentage. McFadden misses anywhere between 8 to 10% of his tackles, and that's a bad stat in the NFL.
He was bad settling down, though. Like I said, when you're off-ball linebacker, you got to be able to settle down to make the tackle. When you bring him off the edge, it will just run and go. Shoot, you can be out of control.
We call it on the show the dip.
Yeah.
He dips his shoulder.
Yeah.
Gets a speed rush, dips it, and goes, which is fine. You're not now. What I always tell people: what happened outside of that game, the last game in college, when he hurt his shoulder and he couldn't dip? He had 1 sack, and he was going up against a freshman. And you literally had one. OGR tells me all about this too. you had 1 sack, and we were taking him. And like I said, I think he was the right pick. If the Giants didn't trade out, I think he was the right pick at 3. But I can't see, and I'm still trying to see where people are seeing that he is going to be on the field, 60, 70% of the plays. I don't see it. Tell me I'm wrong.
Oh man, I wish I could tell you wrong. The only thing I can think of is banking on the rotation and people being satisfied with that. That's it. Being Giants fans being satisfied with seeing him 40%, because we're also going to be seeing Brian Burns and well, not Brian Burns, but Tibbs, because I think he'll be splitting snaps with Tibbs. I think that's what happens. And then whoever has the hotter hand by the mid-season point is going to be eventually the starter, and other guys are going to fade away. Well, Abdul Carter's not going to fade away because he's a rookie. But I think the plan was to slowly, even though we picked up the 5th-year option for Kayvon Thibodeau, I think either we try to keep the value for him, let him play good enough to see if we can get some trade bait for him before the deadline. And that's why we picked up the 5th-year option. It's more appealing to a team that's going to trade for him. We can get more for him if that happens. But yeah, no, you make a valid point.
It's also appealing to the fact that he didn't play well enough last year, so his salary is only $12 million his 5th season. So because if you go by his, normally it would have been like around 14 to 15, but he's only going to get paid like $12 million next year.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I thought it stayed the same, but I didn't know. Yeah,
no. It also, so he's only getting. It was funny because somebody I hate told me that. So I had to look it up. I'm like, yeah, you fucking guy, you're right. So I'm not gonna say who it was. I'm not looking at you, Bob Papa. But I'm just saying it. Just but it just you are a football aficionado. Tell me, just explain this to me. When was the last time a team took a guy at 23, took a guy 3 that may not play 40% of his snaps and took a guy 25th, trade up to get him, might not even see the field?
Yeah, I like I said, I lead the quarterback out of the situation because it's quarterback for Abdul Carter. Haven't seen it. Usually when you're drafting somebody that early, outside of possibly a quarterback, you plan on that person being the full-time starter, not rotational guy. Yeah, so we have not seen that, especially for an edge rusher. Edge rushers and tackles and stuff like that, like offensive tackles, those guys usually start right away if you're picking them in the top 5.
Right.
But yeah, again, they could be trying to save face and say, okay, it's going to be K. But I think they're going to force Abdul Carter out there on the field though. But and also I think he deserves it. But Kayvon Thibodeau, again, it becomes a redundant pick when you picked up the 5th-year option, even though you picked up the 5th-year option 15 minutes after drafting Abdul Carter.
But here's the thing. Here's the question I'm going to ask you. This is the important defensive question. Everyone says like Brian Burns, and I thought the Brian Burns trade was a good trade value for what we gave up to get him. Was not happy that we dropped $120 million the next day on. I was not happy about that. And I said it, and it was quantified by the NFL Network. I said we just paid $120 million for an 8-sack guy, and I was wrong. He had 8.5 sacks, but he's an 8-sack guy outside of that one season, and he has a tendency to disappear for multitudes of games. In reference where he won't even get a solo tackle, he won't get a sack. Kayvon Thibodeau does the exact same thing, and this is a guy that we are now hearing in Brian Burns that they are going to play him off the line more because of the fact I'm going to ask you a question about linebackers, man. We're leading up to that. He's going to play off the line more. But the problem is last year, he only played 26 snaps off the line of scrimmage. This is not a guy that is known to be a linebacker.
He's not an edge. He's not an edge setter either.
We're going to go into that. Neither is Kayvon Thibodeau. That's why we've said this since the Cleveland game. Joe Schoen's last season.
Neither is Abdul Carter either.
No, we're getting there.
Oh man,
we gave up 28. We were 28th in the league in rushing. Gave up over 2,000 yards, over 15 touchdowns. We got 3 guys that none of them have the understanding to play their assignment and set the edge against a run, which has been our issue since the Cleveland preseason game under Joe Judge, where it was off tackle left, off tackle right, off tackle left, up the middle, over the top, touchdown. It's been that way since then, but now we have 3 guys that can't set the edge, 3 guys that can't play linebacker. We have Bobby Okereke, who had to me what I like to refer to as the Blake Martinez sophomore slump. That's his second season a little bit. And people don't want to talk. Everyone wants to blast Tay Banks that he dogged it. We've shown on this show there are multitudes of plays, especially in the Eagle game, where Bobby Okereke had the angle and stopped running midfield.
Yeah, there's some examples in last year's film for Bobby Okereke that you can't explain away. I know later on he was dealing with injuries,
but I will before the injuries. I give him the injuries. I also believe this. To me, that first year under Bowen, I think he played out of position. They had him hook the curl. They had him as a coverage linebacker where, he might be athletic enough to do that, but that's not his strong suit. So then you see Micah McFadden's numbers go up. Why? Because he's playing the position that Bobby Okereke was playing a year prior. Like the scheme is so backwards to me. And then I'm hoping that this year, Bowen, that he can figure it out. Well, we're getting to that. But let's go back to the question of what's coming up.
Yeah, sorry.
So you have, thanks for fucking interrupting. Breaking my train. So you have three. Yeah, you wonder why people want to be a guest on this show. I still haven't figured it out. So you have three guys that can't set the edge. You have Dexter Lawrence in the middle of the field, which most people are going to try to run away from. But a lot of times with your edge players, what you're trying to do is trying to push the play back into the middle of the field, which would be the strength of our field. We have three guys that can't set the edge. We have an off the ball linebacker who I think is good to average in Bobby Okereke. I think McFadden's average. Where are you getting your second level defensive linebacking play with all these issues that we have on guys that kind of don't fit the scheme that Bowen likes to run, that he ran in Tennessee for 5 years and what he ran last year, where he likes to blitz less than time, but he does generate a rush with four guys? Who the hell is going to be the mop-up guys and stop the player from getting in the second level outside of Bobby Okereke? And listen, McFadden, I like it. He's improved, but he still misses a lot of tackles. We don't have a Harry. No, not many people ever have a Harry Carson, but we don't have a Harry Carson. We don't have a Gary Reasons. We don't have a Peppers. We don't have an Armstead. We don't have anyone real. People say, well, we're going to play a 4-3. We're going to play a 3-4. Well, who the hell are your linebackers?
Yeah. So that's a lot to unpack. I'll say this to that, right? So to answer the last part of your question is who's going to be those guys to step up and make those tackles. You made an example of one of them in Tyler Newman being a box safety. We saw it last year. The last line of defense, safety getting a lot of tackles. The other guy, unfortunately, will be Andrew Phillips. You saw how aggressive he was in the running game, but that's off of read and recognition he was doing. That wasn't part of his role. I will say this though, when you look at the defensive line outside of Dexter Lawrence, you brought in a guy like Lee and Robertson Harris. You bring in a guy like Ledbetter, who are more stout in the run than a Nacho, right? And Nacho was playing out of position last year because they had him playing some nose tackle, and he's not big enough to do those things. So when you add some bigger guys that are a little bit stronger in run defense on the defensive line, I think that helps the linebackers. To your point, Michael McFadden seemed to be there, but he wasn't finishing like he was supposed to. I remember that week 2, he had Jaden Daniels dead to rights, 6 yards in the backfield.
Yep.
And he got out of that, and he's 190 pounds or whatever he is. But again, I think a lot of that has to do with the offensive line being able to get to Bobby Okereke or being able to get to Michael McFadden more easily because the defensive line was non-existent outside of Dexter Lawrence. We saw when Dexter Lawrence was on the field that he was able to hold up to three offensive linemen at some points, and the linebackers moved a little bit freely. I do believe that we got some guys in here this year that should help out the linebackers. But to your point, again, a lot of this we have not seen yet. And it's for me, it's football philosophy and how things should work. And hopefully they work because you do have, quote unquote, better people in the defensive line. Again, I played linebacker. That's what I did. And if my guard or if the tackle didn't do his job, I was cooked. If I couldn't shed a block, I was cooked. So for me, I just think about that as my explanation. Like, okay, better defensive line. I'm free to make the plays. Linebacker is exactly what your name says. You back up the line. There it is. So if your line doesn't do anything for you, then you're up Schitt's Creek without a paddle.
Well, the problem is the problem is reversed. If you have a line but someone still gets through the line and you get someone on that second level and the linebackers can't stop anybody.
Yeah, that's football. Yeah.
That's football. And that's what people don't get. And what I don't get, and this is where we're going with this. And yes, Jay Ferris sounds like a district attorney cross-examining hostile witness and Big Dash. I have one question. Big Dash.
Yes, sir.
Did you call the code red? Sorry. Did you call for the code? No, I'm sorry. We're not going to get into that. But you built a defensive scheme for 2 seasons under Wink Martindale. You then turned around and went to a bend not break. If you waited one more week, you could have had Steve Wilkes. I'm not going to go into that. Even though I've gone into that a bazillion times. But you brought in a bend not break guy whose secondaries outside of the 2 years Jim Schwartz was his mentor in Tennessee were not proficient outside of the safety role. And he's a guy that, to me, didn't fit the talent that he was being asked to coach. And I always love it because we talked about this. Like I said, Hard Knocks, the gift that keeps on giving. We're probably going to have it more again. He has that first meeting with the team They're all in the room.
Talk about
He asks him. Joe Schoen. He asked Joe, what do you need to make this team successful? I need 2 linebackers and a defensive tackle. We've said it before as a soundbite. What about Brian Burns? Doesn't fit. Didn't fit anything he asked for. Normally, when you ask a cook and say, hey, listen, you're making a steak, do you mind if you make it out of this fish? No, it doesn't work. But you brought in a guy that made 0 sense for the skilled players you had. Now, Tay Banks, in my mind, slipped last year, fell off last year because not only the fact that he had poor safety, but no one wants to talk about the poor safety play at times, but he also was in a defense that did not fit his skill set. You go out and get a Paulson Adebo. You say, Paulson Adebo, you are this man lockdown corner. You are known for breaking up passes. Hey, come here and play some fucking zone. It'll work out well for you, even though you're coming off a broken leg, and most team people didn't even have you on the top 5 of their corners because of the broken leg, and they were like, hey, no, listen, let's give him a 2-year deal, maybe 11 million guaranteed, the void year, but hey, we're going to give you 54 million to come here and not play in a system that you fit. Explain. Wait, we're going to get there. Explain to me how you're still kind of bringing in guys that don't really fit the Bowen system. Here's another great example. Darius Alexander. First thing that Joe Schoen says about him, not that he's a run stuffer, not that he's a line blocker, not he's a Dalvin Tomlinson. He is a young, athletic, 300-pound lineman who can rush the passer, who happened to be the 13th defensive tackle off the board of that portion of the draft. So there was 12 other guys that people thought were better player than he was at the defensive tackle position, but it doesn't kind of fit the Shane Bowen system. You have all these guys. You go out and get Holland, who had one of the worst collapses in a young career that I've seen at the safety position. All of a sudden, and you have people questioning how the hell did he fall so much, from way he played before. And to me, yeah, he might fit the Shane Bowen system a little bit better, but you brought in all these guys still that don't fit what your defensive coordinator is known for doing. Please explain to me why.
Yeah, so I'll start with Darius Alexander. Despite his skill set being a bigger guy that was he 6'3", 6'4", 310 pounds. Despite being he was
305 at his pro day at 6, I forget.
Yeah, but he did have a pretty good run stopping grade at Toledo. But to your point, when it comes to Shane,
powerhouse Toledo.
Yeah, and that's probably one of the reasons why he fell is the strength of competition. But we'll see what happens with that, because by everybody's reports, they like the way that he plays, strong hands, this, that, and the third. So all the traits that you want your defensive tackle to have, he does have that, as in 3 technique and almost like a defensive end in some cases, in a 3-4. But what did you expect from Shane Bowen when you literally picked him off of PFF? Brian Dable, like you said, the gift that keeps on giving. Hard Knocks. The main issue was we're not able to stop the run. And what did he do? He got on PFF and said, look at this Tennessee defense. Look how good they are stopping the run. Never mind, we don't have Jeffrey Simmons or any of those guys that can run a 3-4 next to Dex playing. And to your point, like you just made too, he told Joe Schoen what he needed, and we didn't get it. But to my point is, once you realize that you didn't get what you wanted, you had to make some type of changes to your scheme, because the players don't fit that Tennessee scheme. We're not the Tennessee Giants at all. And then this year, to your point too, Tay Banks' strength is his man. Paulson Adebo is a man corner. So again, in my simple mind, you plan on changing the scheme up a bit. I expect to see a lot more man, even when it comes to Andrew Phillips. He's an aggressive guy. These are all.
Wouldn't you have expected to have seen that last year? Because the only guy you mentioned, Paulson Adebo, in the secondary, wasn't on the team last year. I think he was the only guy.
Yes, but again, they didn't do that at Tennessee. No. Yeah, that's the and to your point, and I love that you mentioned Steve Wilkes. I would have loved Steve Wilkes. I would have loved Leslie.
Leslie Frazier. Yeah, I didn't think Leslie Frazier was going to be a fit here.
Well, he wasn't coming anyway.
He wasn't coming, but Leslie Frazier, to me, I'm not going to say he got kind of screwed in the head coaching department. He did, but I'm not going to say that because I'm trying to be nice. Yeah, he did get screwed. And I thought someone bringing in like Leslie Frazier may have been like the fact that we never brought in competition for Daniel Jones. Could you imagine Brian Dable having a 3-win season and Leslie Frazier sitting right across from him in the defensive meetings?
He'd be done. He'd be done.
Yeah,
he'd be done. But yeah. So it's all hope when it comes to the deep. When I look at the roster, I'm literally looking at the names on the roster, and I'm hoping that we don't play the same defense that we played last year, because again, that was Tennessee's defense. This is the New York Giants. Play to the strength of the players. Wide 9, can we do that? Can we do a little wide 9 with the type of edges that we have with Brian Burns and Thibodeau? Because that makes sense to put their hands in the dirt if they're playing wide. You don't want these guys right off the tackle. They don't have the strength to do that.
No, they don't.
Tibbs is stronger than people give him credit for, but he doesn't have a backup move. If that first move doesn't work, he's usually pretty stuck. But he does look like he got stronger. He does look a little bit bigger.
Yeah, he's got to be strong. He's got to be stronger than this.
Yeah. You can't. Yeah. You can't let the quarterback.
You can't play patty cake with the quarterback. And Swift went around that corner for like 45.
Man. Yeah, it's still a lot of question marks. I'm just hoping that somebody's in the ear of the coaching staff. Like I'm hoping not Brian Bones, but Shane Bowen. Shane Bowen did mention in one of the Sean O'Hara interview when he was in the car with Sean O'Hara. They did talk about how to play certain players, and he said he didn't want to give up too much information. So I'm hoping that they're going to try some things. And we saw it a little bit. We saw the clip that Abdul Carter leaked, and to me, it looked like it was wide 9. So I'm hoping that we see a little bit of that. But also, when you keep those 3 guys on the field, what are you losing to at the end of the day? And you're not stopping the run with that type of front.
I've said this before. I'm Jalen Hurts. I'm Jaden Daniels. Hell, I'm even Dak Prescott. I'm sitting there, and I see those 3 guys on the field. I already understand the fact that Tibbs and Kayvon Thibodeau, if they're rushing, have a tendency to be over-aggressive and not maintain their assignments. What I'm doing is, and I also know that both Tibbs and Brian Burns also have a tendency of being pushed wide on their rush, because sometimes they seem to take their rushes out to either California, or they're taking the rush out to Jersey. Because they're going so fucking wide and they don't cut in soon enough. They don't cut the rush back in. If I see those 3 on the field, I'm waiting for them to either be over aggressive, and you're like I said, I'm running a draw, I'm running a quarterback option. I'm gonna have an understanding that more than likely the middle of the field is going to be open, and I'm going to take advantage of their over aggressiveness. Now, at times it's not going to work. They're going to get to the quarterback, but the question is, how often are you going to get to the quarterback for it not to work? And do you have the ability in the backfield to stop what I can do when you're going to leave sections of the field wide open?
Yeah, I think a lot of that depends on the teams that we play and the strength of their interior offensive line. Like we're talking about edge guys, obviously, and I think a lot of their moves are focused off of what they do best is their speed when it's comes to Burns and even Thibodeau. Get off speed, so a lot of their main moves, even the spin move that Brian Burns had, is off of speed. You don't see too much hand fighting with these guys too much.
No, there was none.
So for me, if Dex and then the new guys that we brought in, Darius Alexander and the Ledbetters and stuff like that, if they can play more stout in the interior, then you can see those guys get home more on outside. But also, I want to say this too, getting back when we talk about production from Burns and production from Kayvon Thibodeau, one thing that also affects their production is never being able to play with the lead. Like never being able to play with the lead. So if a team is playing is going to be passing the ball, you can rush the quarterback more, and you might see more production out of those guys. When it's the New York Giants and we're giving it up, pause in the run game, and we never play with the lead, so they can't play with their ears back. You'll see a lack of production. I do believe that.
You are such a half class full guy. I love it. I love it. I love it because you're my new favorite Carl Banks.
Oh, man.
You speak the truth, And then all of a sudden you're kind of like, but
That's the hope. That's the hope part of it.
that is the hope part.
Because how football's supposed to work, but whatever we've been doing, it hasn't been working.
I want to ask you about Carl Banks, and I got to get out of here, but I'm having a good time conversation. But I got two more questions for you. Carl Banks, I've made fun of him for years, saying that he is the ultimate homer, that he is the ultimate team guy, that he'll say I go back to when he have said on the radio that the Giants are officially a broken team. And I thought there was a moment of clarity there for him. And then he came back on after the game and said, well, I didn't really say that. What I meant was, but now you have Twitter Carl Banks, and he's been posting stuff that makes sense. And I'm not saying is not politically correct, but he even said, he talked about the Giant linebackers when he played and how, a linebacker or a defensive end should at best be average at stopping the run. And he was talking about the likes of Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns, and how when, his guys were 3-down guys that, understood how to play the run and not only the position, he's being more honest. And I've noticed that on Twitter, and I'm going to ask him about it in August, but he's being more honest. And I just find it interesting. Do you think that he is going to, and I know it's just your thought, but do you think that this is something that he's just doing on Twitter now? Or do you think this is something, because I love the honesty, because he's like you, he gives right what he's doing now. He'll give the honest facts, but then he's also now backing them up with, with saying, this, with football knowledge. And I wish more now. You always love having the home announcer be the homer announcer. But I also like the home announcer to be a guy that, doesn't treat me like I'm an idiot and speaks to me like I am a fan, not only of the Giants, but a fan that understands football. And I find it refreshing that he's doing that now, but I kind of worry. I'm kind of curious if that's do you think that continues into the season and we get, Giants are officially broken, but I didn't mean that. Or do you think that maybe he's found the stride with Papa that is going to make him, be able to do these things? Or is he just going to get his ass fired?
No. So first off, Carl Banks is special to me because that's the first player I ever met. 4th grade field trip, went to Giant Stadium, met Carl Banks, first Giant I ever met. So I love Carl Banks.
Oh, my Carl Banks memory is 87 lobby. If I wasn't even in high school yet, lobby of the hotel in Pasadena. And I got to meet him, and he actually gave me pointers. So Carl Banks is one of my favorite players. I've had this, until I threw it one day. I had this Carl Banks autograph helmet sitting on my computer for the last 10 years. So he is literally outside of Phil Simms, probably one of my favorite Giants. So I have the same affinity.
Now Carl Banks,
one of them all the time.
Yeah, the Carl Banks, the analyst, and then the Twitter personality, he has changed in a lot of his views, and I do see that. I'm hoping that he keeps that same thing, because he the ranking came out for the defensive line, and the Giants ranked 3, and he was like, don't believe.
Exactly. That was the other one I was going to get to. Yes.
Yeah. Don't believe the hype type deal. And for me, I'll take any accolades that we get before the season, because I know what could happen during the season. So for me, I go through a cycle where this part of the year, super positive, right? Super positive, got the optimism. Once we get into the season, I actually see what's happening, and I don't like it, then the switch happens, and then I turn into the guy you saw in December and January of last year, where blow it all up, burn them all, Game of Thrones type stuff. But I hope that Carl Banks can keep the same vibe that he's in right now, because we're gonna need somebody like that, for his channel and stuff like that. And I also think that because he's getting some money outside of just the Giants, I think he's a little more freely too, speaking a little more openly too, and being a lot more critical of the team, which he should be, because if we can't trust Carl Banks or any of these other guys, then who the hell can we trust as far as giving us some real stuff? Because you actually played for the Giants. So as much as you can talk about it, because you got experience in the NFL, and as much as I can talk about it with no experience in the NFL, we look at somebody like Carl Banks, like, don't lie to us. Like, don't tell me that what I'm seeing is not what I'm seeing. And that's one thing that I hate. But yeah, hopefully he keeps it up.
Like we always say on the show, don't piss down my leg and tell me it's raining. because that's kind of where, and make sure you hit the like button, guys. I keep forgetting I always say that. But that's where I get with Carl Banks. We had a comment about McFadden, some content creators saying that he may be up for an extension, and I don't have a problem with it. I mean, like I said, here's the reason why I don't have a problem with it. Who else do we have?
Oh, so he's not going to cost you a lot of money either.
No, that's the thing. And if I extend him for another 2-3 years, I mean, is that a bad thing, Dash? I mean, is that?
There's only probably 2 people that I would extend before the season starts. First, because the option they're going to be cheap, and Mike McFadden was one of them. And then I want to get Jermaine Illuminor in here a little bit longer, to extend a little bit longer, because he's 29. We see offensive linemen can play up until 34, 35 years old. And I think he's one of those guys. And I think if we do end up having a solid season, or I should say he ends up having a solid season, he's going to cost us a lot more money if we wait to sign him. So 2 names, not even 3, 2 guys.
Second to last question. Evan Neal. You have the talk that, and I don't understand the talk with Andrew Thomas. I don't get it, because Andrew Thomas did not say he's not going to be ready. He is saying that the goal is to be ready for week. Literally, he said the goal is to be ready for week 1, which should be your goal. To be the opening day left tackle. But, some people started panicking. Oh, my God, he's not going to be ready. Theo Johnson had the same type of surgery, and he's catching touchdowns. Well, every player is different. Everyone heals different. And Andrew Thomas is a little bit more important than Theo Johnson. But you have a guy that you took 7th overall 3 years ago, who came into the league wanting to play left tackle, who you were moving into the interior part of the line, which I do not have a problem with you doing. But my thought process is, you had these OTAs and you knew Andrew Thomas wasn't there. Why didn't you just try out Evan Neal over at left tackle before training camp to see? Because he'll probably end up looking good. Dane Belton looked good, so he might end up looking good. But why didn't you just give him a shot over at what he likes to refer to as his natural position, over at left tackle? And now that there is news that maybe Andrew Thomas isn't ready.
I think hope has a lot to do with it. The same reason why we didn't pick up somebody really to compete with Daniel Jones in 2024. We went with Drew Lock instead, because they were hoping that Daniel Jones was going to come back. They're hoping that Andrew Thomas is going to be healthy. For me, with the Evan Neal thing, I'm an Alabama fan. Tackles don't come out of Alabama.
No.
Tackles do not come out of Alabama. So once we saw that he could not play tackle, because he had issues at left tackle at Alabama that showed up, once he got to the NFL. So I don't think trying him out at left tackle would have been a good idea after you saw him fail, even at right tackle. I do hope that he can succeed inside, but the whole Andrew Thomas thing, I put out a video on Andrew Thomas too. I over-exaggerated a little bit, but Andrew Thomas being hurt is Andrew Thomas. We're used to that now. I got a bigger problem with not finding an option behind Andrew Thomas when you knew this was a possibility. And that goes to Joe Schoen. Like you decided to pay him. And again, we got a little bit of a discount for Andrew Thomas. Even he admitted when we signed him that he had issues with his foot and he wanted to make sure he secured some money. So why haven't you gotten or drafted or either traded for that left tackle, a replacement? We don't have a replacement for, and I don't care. James Hudson is not it. He's not.
James Hudson the third.
Forsyth is not it. Marcus Bowe could possibly turn into something, but there's holes here. But getting back to your point, Evan Neal, keep him at guard. If he doesn't survive at guard, I wouldn't even try him on the outside, because he does not have the feet to play outside. He does have the hands. Once he gets his hands on you is one thing.
Well, the problem is he doesn't get into a stance fast enough. He doesn't get
or out of it fast.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He doesn't get out of it fast enough. So I mean, there's your first problem. But I do think that Evan Neal played, and people forget this, and which is amazing. Carl Banks brought this up. If you take a look at his last couple games that he played at right tackle, they weren't bad. They were actually pretty good. And Evan Neal, to his point, which would have been better if he didn't talk about the flipping burgers, but to his point, he could play 46 snaps. 2 of them could be bad, but all everyone talks about is the 2 and not the other 44.
Yeah.
And and I think he kind of got lost when he brought up the flipping bird.
And that's the plight of the offensive line, because to your point, a defensive end like a Brian Burns, he can beat the tackle twice and get a tackle for a loss and a sack, and it'll be perfect. But the other 44 snaps, he was non-existent.
Yeah.
But when you look at it on the opposite side for the offensive line, you can be perfect for 44 snaps, give up 2, tackle for loss, sack, and your game is shitty. So that's the plight of the offensive line. But for me, it's just footwork. Period. The way he was getting beat, is more of my problem.
Yeah, I mean, we got Slider, man. I forgot, man. I didn't see you there, but I saw Slider in the chat. Said Big Dash Tim has been saying that for years about AT and about the left tackle or Thomas. Zuda, hell no, Zuda.
They ruined the Zudu though.
How did they? Okay.
No, it's quick. I'll get it to you.
Hold on, in season Carl Banks. How did they ruin Zuda? Tell me.
Now, I'm not saying
poorly. How did they ruin him?
No, I'm not saying that he would have been great. I'm just saying they never gave him a true. When we picked up Joshua Zudu, Andrew Thomas was coming off of like a cleanup on his ankle or whatever it was. Right. Joshua Zudu was a guard. He should have been a guard. He should have never been a tackle at all. What did they do? OTAs, training camp. They had a Zudu at left tackle. Never really learned the left guard spot. And then you put him at left tackle and he's awful. Well, he wasn't a tackle to begin with. If you would have kept him at guard, he would have learned the guard. Maybe we would have seen more, some better production out of him. Not saying that you could have. I'm saying it's just some things that I see that you're not giving players a fair shot. The same thing now with Marcus Bowe, and I'm not to change the subject. You see a lot of people saying, well, he can play guard. He can even play center. How about you play him at where you drafted him? Tackle. Because that's why you drafted him, because he's a damn good tackle coming out of Purdue. So but
then my question is going to be twofold, or going to be this. You took a left tackle in Evan Neal and made him a right tackle when you already had a left tackle.
There you go.
Do you think Zudu should have stayed one more year at North Carolina?
He was young enough.
He redshirted. I think his junior. I think he was a redshirt junior that last year, and he played in 11 games. I think he was second team conference. I'm not sure, but I always thought that he would have benefited for. Sometimes you see guys, especially offensive linemen, that you don't think they've grown into their body yet, and it's like I always thought that maybe he should have stayed another season in college.
Well, the pros for Zudu for me were his feet. He had good feet. But even at North Carolina, there were drives where they switched positions for him.
Yeah.
He was a couple snaps, he was guard, a couple snaps, he played tackle. They moved him around too. So like how does somebody develop a skill set if you keep on moving them? And to me, again, once we got here, he was never supposed to be a tackle. He should have been a guard. We said, he did it at North Carolina, so obviously he can do it for the New York Giants. And then what happens? He fails.
See this?
And now we're looking to replace him.
Jay Ferris knew where I was going. North Carolina had one of the worst offensive lines in college football that year, and we drafted 2 of them. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, because I was going to go there. I was waiting for Dash to finish, but right now Dash wants to cut off Azudu's feet and give him to Evan Neal. So we got to make.
Yeah, I would absolutely do that.
But thank you, Jay. That is literally where I was going with that point. I love when people in the chat figure it out before I even get there and make that turn. At the end of the day, we've been on way too long. It's been 2 hours and 24 minutes. At the end of the day, you think the Giants could be a 500 team? You're not saying a playoff team.
At best.
Be a 500 team.
At best.
Okay, at worst.
That's at best. At worst. Right now, my range, I was saying that my range was 7 to 10. Right now it's probably 6 to 9. If we lose more than 6 games, then Dable's gone, in my opinion, or has to be gone, or there definitely has to be some changes, because when the roster is good enough to be a 8 to 9 win team, in my opinion.
You're saying it's good enough to be an 8 to 9 win team. Are they an 8 to 9 win team with this schedule? Because there's maybe you always look on the schedules for the gimmies. You're like, oh, that's a gimme, that's a 2-foot putt. But if you look at this, and even the Saints game is in New Orleans,
I don't care where it is. That Saints game is a gimme. That quarterback situation is ridiculous. If we lose to the Saints, somebody else is doing some hot dog flipping or hamburger flipping. Somebody, yeah, no.
But outside of the Saint games, what are your gimme games?
I like us against the Saints. I like us. I do think we could beat the Bears, even with Ben Johnson coming in there. I just think Caleb Williams in that offense. Outside of that,
now the Bears should, and it's a big should because they should have last year too, but they did 2 years ago. They should have a pretty good defense. They should have not a monsters of the midway defense, but they have improved enough where they have an NFL caliber defense.
Yeah, but that's a game where we can win. We can win that game that's like a 14-10 game,
okay,
14-7 game. But not two powerhouses.
We got Russell Wilson putting up all those points. Come on.
I do think we can split with the Commanders. I do think we split with Dallas this year. So that's this
is where I was going with this one too.
Yeah. Who was quarterbacking?
Who was quarterback of the Saints?
Yeah.
So I've already said this. I've said this a million times. If the Giants want to be 9 wins, you got to go 3-3 in your first 6.
Oh, the Patriots too. I think the Patriots are a gimme.
I don't know if the Patriots are a gimme. It depends on Drake May, but I don't know if the Patriots are. I actually like what the Patriots have done. I don't know if that's a gimme, but you have to go 6-6. 3-3 your first 6 games, because that'll give you one division. You'll still be 1-2 in the division, but you will be you will have one divisional win, and you only have to win 6 of your last 7. So you only have to be 1 game over 500 in your last 11 games to win 9 games. But my problem is this: I don't know if we could go 3-3 in the first 6.
Yeah,
I think there's maybe 1 win. Because then in the first 6, because you're talking about 9 wins, you could be 1-5 in your first 6 games, and then you are going to have to find 8 wins to be a 9-win team.
If we're 1-5, then you're definitely seeing Jackson Dart. You're definitely going to see Jackson Dart sooner than you wanted to see him, and then I don't think it makes it any better.
No,
even after shifting to Jackson Dart, but you will see Jackson Dart if that happens.
I want you to go research JP Lossman. I want you to I want you not to go and research it by the internet. I want you to go. There is plenty of film on JP Lossman.
College or Buffalo?
Both. You gotta look at both.
I got the NFL package, so I can go back to some of those Buffalo games.
You gotta go and look at both in college, because you have to see the full. Like, I still have the Street and Smith guides, I think, from when he came out, because I don't throw.
I'm gonna be honest. You know what's crazy? I don't care enough about Jackson Dart to even look up JP Lossman.
But I'm telling you, when people start talking about JP Lossman and Jackson Dart in week 6,
they stole it from you.
Yeah, I know. They steal shit from me all the time. It's a thing. You're allowed to steal shit and not give me any fucking credit, but that's all right. I don't care. I'm not bitter anymore. I've got since I've been on the Believe Network, I'm now this more professional, non-bitter person.
Shout out to Believe.
What's that?
I said, shout out to the Believe Network.
Shout out to the Believe Network, home of Online Big Blue and Carl Banks, Bob Papa, and Matt and Phil Sims. But home to Online Big Blue. That's what they're known for right now. We always have at the end of the show, Dash, where our guest gives their final thought. Doesn't have to be football related. I love the 70s logo on the back, by the way. Doesn't have to be football related. Doesn't have to be Giant related, but it's the pearl of wisdom that's going to lead us into the Monday. It's never something that you don't have to think about, because you just fuck up everyone's rest of the week if you screw this up. But you have to give your final thought, your final piece of wisdom, impart us with some Big Dash knowledge.
All right. I went and saw Superman yesterday. I thought Superman was a pretty good movie. A lot of people are giving a lot of I guess flack on it being political. It's not political at all. If you're a comic book fan of Superman, you should like this new Superman movie. So go ahead and make sure you go ahead and check that out. That's my night.
Is the Superman movie? Is he like the comic book Superman? I don't watch any of the Marvel or the DC movies. I think I've seen I saw the very first Captain America. I saw that one.
Mhm.
I haven't seen any of the other ones, but I have read the comics, like the Superman comics. Is he like the Superman comic, or is he?
Yeah, it depends on which series of Superman comics that you like to read, because not a couple different versions, but a couple different storylines. I think he is true to Superman that we've seen. The actual Superman, Clark Kent was okay, but the actual Superman, the humanity portion of it, and then showing not weakness but just vulnerability. I think it was a good movie.
Now the question is, was there truth, justice, and the American way? No, come on, that was Superman. People forget what Superman was about when he first came out, and he was like that even going into World War II, even going into the Vietnam War. He was always still truth, justice, and the American way.
So without any spoilers, there's a portion where he did come defend the defenseless, I should say. He fought the big bad for somebody, and he stuck up for a people, I should say. So that's American. We always stick our nose in other people's business, and
So you're politically correctly saying it's not about truth, justice, and the American way. It's okay. You can say it. It doesn't matter.
It is about truth. It is about justice. The American way, maybe not. Maybe not.
Because the 119 people still hanging out in here, they don't watch the show. Don't worry about it. They're not listening. They're all doing something. I'm assuming all these people are bots. Oh, of course we have Big Dash. If you don't know, it's Big Dash Knows. I'll put his link, his YouTube channel link in the description once this gets uploaded to everything else. Well, also you'll be able to catch the full 2 hour and 32-minute version of this on the Believe Network. That'll probably be up on Wednesday. We have a big interview coming up on Monday with a guy who I think you guys are going to like. Some people are not going to know who he is, but his name is Ro Parrish. He's actually a pretty famous DJ. He's also the DJ for the NBA. He was the Dallas Mavericks DJ for a bunch of years. He also works for the NFL Network. He worked for the NBA Network as well. He does quite a number of stuff, and he's got a channel on Believe for the Dallas Cowboys. So he's going to be on Monday talking everything Dallas Cowboys. I hit him with a question right off the bat, and I don't want to tell you what the question is. I want to ask Dash the question, but I'm not going to ask him because it's a great question. It wasn't even football related, the very first question. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Make sure you catch us also on the Believe Network as New York Giants Straight Talk, of course, online Big Blue. And wait, next week we are going to be having the new show, Bats, Balls, and Bad Decisions, unscripted, unqualified, and unapologetic. This is where all the interviews are now going to go. So we're going to have more Giant related interviews instead of these other people that we bring in. So we're all going to do an interview show. So we're going to have a lot of interviews on that. So it's a lot going on. And Big Dash, I appreciate you coming in and hanging out for as long as you did. I was never invited on your show, but that's all right.
I told you, I don't send out invites. It's the link is there.
You're not supposed to with the host. You're supposed to kiss my ass. That's how this works. When I go on your show, I'm going to kiss your ass. But
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I saw you on was it Revival? I saw you on Revival. You're not the type to kiss ass at all.
Oh, did you see the second Matt Sims interview?
I haven't. I'll check that out though. You have to.
Yeah, if you haven't seen the second Matt Sims, within the first 30 seconds, I tell him that people actually DM me and told me that I took it easy on him. So I let him know within the first 30 seconds that I took it easy on him and I wasn't going to do that. He looks at me and goes, "What the fuck are you talking about?" He's like, that was taking it easy on me in the first interview. Oh, I have Dash on. I have to ask Dash a question too. I am going to go to the Sims Complete quarterback camp.
Okay.
And I'm going to compete with the 16 and 20-year-olds in the quarterback passing drills because I already told Matt Sims, he could play quarterback in the NFL, so can I. So I'm going to go and I'm going to go and compete. And I'm going to have, starting next week, I'm going to be trained. I'm going to go talk about this next week, trained by a professional quarterback coach before this event. Now, I already told them the story that 3 years ago, I threw a pass 38 yards from the 38-yard line into the corner of the end zone during my quarterback challenge when we took a bunch of subscribers onto the field. So he told me, I couldn't do it again. So I'm going to go compete at this camp. So knowing how wonderful I am, and we're trying to prep this up and trying to hype this up, just tell everyone how great I'm going to do.
First, I think that's a setup. I think it's absolutely a setup. But yeah, you're gonna be great. You're gonna be fantastic. If you can throw a dime into the corner of the end zone from the 38-yard line, you should do very well.
He was impressed by that, and then I told him I only did it once, and then he wasn't impressed after that.
My question is this: were you trying to get it into the corner end zone?
Yes, we this was 3 years ago. We called it the 40-yard challenge, where I talked about it for like 2 weeks that I was going to throw a pass from the 48 from the 38 into, because the end zone, how long the end zone is. So I threw it 2 yards off to the back of the end zone. So I threw it from the 38. That's why I called it the 40-yard challenge. And it was a regulation Duke football.
Okay.
Dropped it in the corner, in air, didn't bounce it. Just put it right where it needed to be. Perfect pass. Beautiful.
How did your arm feel after?
Oh, it hurt like shit. And I said I was only going to do it once. I wasn't joking when I told you I'm doing it once.
Set up, Tim. Don't do it.
This is it.
No, don't do it. You let him talk you into that. Don't.
No, I brought it up to him.
I know, but who brought up the whole? Oh, you brought up the whole going there into the beat.
Yeah, I brought it up to him. He agreed.
Oh man.
So I'm literally about to, like I said, I'm back in the gym for the last 3 weeks now. I'm in training. So this is going to be in a couple months. But like I said, I'm literally getting to have a professional quarterback coach starting to train me next week.
Man, keep the icy hot on deck.
I already told Matt this. I said, listen, I'm going to show. I said, I told him I'm going to put on a clinic. I'm not going to put on display. I'm putting on a clinic. I'm going to show up. I'm going to show out. I said, but just make sure there's an ambulance and a defibrillator somewhere nearby. So,
Tim, I will tune in as soon as you get back from that. I want to know how bad that shoulder hurts after.
Okay. It hurts now.
Yeah.
It hurts now. But I want to thank Dash for coming on and hanging out for as long as he did. If you don't know, it's Big Dash Knows. Look for the description in the link, which is going to be on there. It's been a fun couple hours, guys. We're going to start doing some new stuff. I got some Giant news coming up next week about something I may be doing around with the Giants. So make sure you stay tuned for that. I'll probably find out on Monday or Tuesday. But like I said, Dash, you want to give a quick plug to the channel before we head out?
Yeah, Big Dash Knows all social media platforms. You know where to find me.
Are you on TikTok?
I'm on TikTok as well. Yeah, not too active on TikTok. Not too active.
Instagram,
yes. And Twitter? I don't have a lot of followers on Instagram. Twitter, that's where you can find me the most is on Twitter. That's where I get into a lot of my arguments.
MySpace.
So, come on now, Tim.
And we're gonna leave it at that. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Make sure you like on the way out. For Tim and Big Dash, as always, we're out here. Dash, don't go anywhere a second.
Okay.